My bad. I set up new monitors. I set up new monitors, and I've just been tinkering with a bunch of stuff. I finally got one of my 32-inch OLEDs over here. The other one is broken, so I've got to return it. Little bummed out about that, so I'm waiting on a new one. Can we get a shirt that says muted? Fair. Fair. Yeah, we should do that. That should definitely be in the store. I will talk to admin wife about getting a muted one. Definitely. All right. So as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by my mute, this was Friday, so it was pretty red. You can see where Tesla really took a hit. And then also, if we look over here to this morning, we can see more red. So I actually like days like today. There's a lot of stuff happening that I was really. I don't know if you guys saw the drama about the H-1B visas and how like a bunch of hard right MAGA people were hitting on Elon, and some people were saying that he potentially is like a traitor or an embed from the woke left that's trying to infiltrate and corrupt the Republicans. I'm just like, you guys are fucking idiots. Anyway, it looks like Trump is backing Elon on his thoughts on the visas, which I think is the right approach. I mean, we want top talent from around the world. We obviously don't want people that are like waiters and waitresses, but if you're a doctor and you're one of the best, and again, you're bringing wealth into this country, why wouldn't you want that? So we want the best and the brightest. We want Tesla to be the best auto company on earth. We want SpaceX to be the best space company. We need to get the best and brightest. We need to pull over as many of them as possible. They will enrich our nation. We obviously don't want, uncontrollable immigration. We don't want 10 million people crossing the border, maybe more over a period of 4 years. But a million that are absolutely the most brilliant and best around the world is a great idea, especially if they love America, in my opinion. But anyway, I was happy to see that Trump is backing that. Also, I just posted something a second ago that I found very intriguing. I'm just going to scroll down here real quick. Not just the fact that Hong Kong and Brazil are talking about strategic reserves. I mean, that's all fine and dandy. That's good stuff. But I also love what I'm seeing previously for the US dollar index during Trump's last presidency. Look at this. It's freakish. It's like freakishly close to his last presidency. You can see the 2016, and then you can see 2024. Look at this. It's almost in lockstep. It's a frighteningly accurate representation of what happened in his last election. Almost too much. But I love that. That's interesting. And then here's another version of it from Andre Steno Larson, showing a little bit that there's a little bit of divergence. I think they did some syncing in the other one, but it shows 2016 to 2024. And it shows how, again, we're a little bit underneath the levels that we saw last time. But look at the path that we ended up taking. This is good for markets. If this ends up happening, this will be good for markets. And I get even more excited about the thought process of that as I look at the dollar today. So let's just hop over here real quick. Look at the dollar today. It's weakening. Now, again, it's got the support zone right here. We want to see it break down, but maybe it goes up a little bit and then breaks down. If it follows a similar path to what we saw last election, this would be very positive for the U.S. stock market. And I think Trump is somebody who obviously wants to support the stock market. Let me bring up my restream here so I got a better version of chat. And then I'll also zoom in this just a little bit. Sorry, like I said, I had to do a lot of stuff, guys, to just kind of rework my PC here. I'm very excited about it. Very, very excited about it. So let's see, is Bitcoin's showing pretty good. So actually some interesting things with Bitcoin too. There's so many places I want to jump to this morning. So I'm starting to like the setup on Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong. We could just get smashed today. And I'm okay if we do. I need to adjust this. This is off. I'm actually happy if we do. Why? Because I have almost $1 million in cash. I have about 15. Yeah, and Sailor announced too over the weekend that he bought more Bitcoin. Is anybody shocked by that? But here's one of the things I'm starting to like on Bitcoin. And don't get me wrong, we could wick down. I think we probably are. I'm not. Yeah, I'll probably be buying today because we have Bitcoin down at 93.5, which I love. We have Mara down like 1.57. We got CleanSpark down 2.5. We got MicroStrategy down almost 2.5, finding support zones but falling. And then we've got Tesla down almost 2%. So we're just seeing a lot of things get hit. Palantir today down over 2%, hitting a wall where it's at. So I'll probably be doing a little bit of buying because it's a couple of percent lower, but I'm not going to get crazy with it today. But I like this. I like this. Again, previous resistance turned into support over and over and over. And one of the things I like the most about this is if we actually just look right here on the MACD, we can see that we're starting to get a divergence on the MACD, which I love. Don't get me wrong. This could get smacked down. We'll just put it here for now. This could get smacked down and crushed really quick. It's one of those things where I prefer to see a flush out, guys. I would love to see a flush out on Bitcoin. If it does that, then there's just no speculation of, oh, is Bitcoin going to drop? It's like, no, Bitcoin dropped. Now what? Where do we go now? That's what I would love to see because we've come down a lot. If you look at the daily RSI over here, we were up like near 84, 85, right up over here in November. And now we're down all the way to the 42 range. If we had one final swoop, guys, which I think still could happen, I think it's probably the most likely scenario right now. I don't know why people would cry. This is what you should root for in a bull market. In a bear market, you don't want to see this shit. You don't want to see this. If you think that we've actually topped, you do not want to see this. You don't want to see this because then it's like, oh, crap. It's not necessarily going to bounce. But in a bull market, I could see this thing wicking down to 80 and then just immediately retracing back up to this fib to the 91 level. And then nobody would be going, nobody like me would be going, guys, I think Bitcoin's going to fall. They'd be like, it's over. Where are we going next? That's exactly you. If you're pro Bitcoin, if you want to see more money in your account, you want to see this fucker drop. And when it does that, you'll be able to buy the dip. And if you can't buy the dip, you'll at least know the dip has occurred and you'll see that beautiful wick back up that you love so much during a bull. And so I think this would be a good thing. I think this would be a good thing. David R. Gallo, is MSTR, SPY, Tesla a good portfolio? I don't know. The SPY I really don't care for, but like MicroStrategy and Tesla, hell yeah. Owning some ARGT, some Argentina fund, I love that too. I could do 10% of that. That would be exciting. I think that's a good long-term hold. And then again, adding some TLT when we get just too high. As long as you think Doge and President Trump are going to do the right things, I think those are good too. And so I like all of that. And if we get speculative, I like RG. I like PayPal actually because I think they're really going to have good earnings. I don't know. There's a lot to talk about. And chips could do all right. I'm a little worried about chips because of issues overseas with China, but those are probably overblown. I think chips are going to do good too. We probably need to look at a bunch of charts today. Do you always store your BTC on a hardware wallet? Not always. I have a decent chunk on hardware wallets though, multiple different hardware wallets. In different places. And again, the physical wallet isn't where your money's at. Your money is on the seed phrase. So it's just very important to understand how all this stuff works. And then with some of them, you have a backup solution. So like Ledger has a backup solution. You can put in a PIN and then you can still get access to it. So like if you lost your stuff, you could still restore it on another wallet. So there's different ways that you could save some of the stuff, but there's a lot to consider. Definitely spend some time figuring it out. Double H, are you considering MicroStrategy called, Jesse? I just not yet. I'm not. But I might when I'm definitely considering those TLT calls. And I don't know if I didn't look to see if we got a video out. We have that last video where we talked about TLT. Calls and the fact that those could be a really good asymmetric opportunity. If we continue to see markets go up and TLT straight trade sideways, that one's really interesting for me. just as far as like a good hedge without having to apply a ton of capital. I like that one. Alejandro says CleanSpark at 950 pre-market, waiting to see when the trend changes. For now, I'm not buying. I'm actually probably buying. I'm probably buying today. I love it. I love the pain, dude. I love it. It's down 3% in pre-market. It's actually 9.47. I eat that shit up. But I also, have almost $1 million in cash. And my entire portfolio a little over 2 years ago at one point was less than that. So I can't, almost three maybe now. Yeah, 2.5, something like that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But I have that much in cash now. So I just you gotta look at the blessings you've been given. If you've made a ton of money, to have like right now I've got like probably 15% cash. When I pay my bills at the beginning of the year, it's probably gonna drop down to like 11%, maybe 12, 11.5, whatever. But I'm pretty blessed to even be in the position to talk about almost $1 million in cash when my entire portfolio was that 2 years ago. Because again, I made 600% in 2023, and then almost another 100% now this year. So it's like I've been blessed. I'm super happy. Raku says, been reading Bitcoin Standard the last 3 days based on your recommendation. Halfway there. Fascinating combination of history and currency economics so far. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think it's a really good read. I think it helps you understand stores of value, and it helps you understand why money transitions over time to better stores of value. And I think understanding the preciousness of money and how it's changed over time, and understanding that it can still change, I think is just a super important concept that everybody should get. Tyler says BTC proxies, CleanSpark, are purposely getting compressed. Once MMs let up, they will fly in 2025. I agree with that, actually. I think BTC, I think MicroStrategy, I think the proxies, I think they all do really good. So I hope they drop more. Again, let's flush this bitch out. I got at least $500,000 I want to dump into these things. I don't buy in bearish trends. I prefer to wait. Cool. That's good for you, Alejandro. I'm happy for you, bud. I don't do that, and I've done really well from not doing that, from doing the exact opposite, actually. I'm always, as long as, again, I care about you can say bearish trends over what time frame? A short time frame? Yeah, these are bearish trends over short time frames. I don't give a shit about short time frames. I care about long, right? So I very strongly believe we're still in the bull market for Bitcoin. So what are the buy zones? We'll look at that, David. So I love bearishness like right now. This is where I feed. I'll apply small amounts of capital. I'll put a little bit in, and then I'll add more and more and more as time goes on. So would it be wise to get rid of CleanSpark or rebuy on this perceived flush? I mean, I'm buying more probably today. So you do you. I love this stuff. What expiry are you looking at? I'm still doing the same that I've always been doing. The June or July or whatever, 2025. I wouldn't go beyond that, or I wouldn't go to 2026 because, again, the cycle's never made it that far. Tyler Casamenti, been reading backdoor access about Ledger wallets. Is this something new with their wallets? Do you prefer Trezor? I've actually got both. I don't know which one I prefer. I like to mitigate risk, so I do a little bit of all. All right, so 713. I don't think we have any 730 data, guys. We got some Hong Kong data. We got some other stuff from last week too. Balance of trade in Hong Kong. Exports are lower. Imports are higher. Kind of an interesting pattern. And then Canada, it looks like we got the CFIB Business Barometer that was 56.4. That was slightly higher than a forecast of 55. I don't know how exactly they gauge this barometer, but at least in Canada, it looks like, again, a trend upwards. We don't hate that. As long as they play ball and get rid of Trudeau, they should continue to see some rebound, I hope. But today, for us, we got Chicago PMI, Purchase Managers Index, 845. We got pending home sales year over year at 9. We got Dallas Fed at 930. And then it's pretty quiet. So there's not a lot on our register today. The Dallas Fed should be interesting. Chicago PMI should be interesting. Pending home sales, nobody really cares about that right now. And again, if we see this kind of activity where the dollar's going down, I think you'll see a lot of things getting a lot better in the near future. So you'll see including home sales, and also too. So when our dollar weakens, guys, you're going to find, I think, a lot of the time, especially in the current environment that we're looking at, that you'll find weakness also too in our currency. So I was saying this a little bit earlier. The dollar is losing strength, and it might find support here soon. But if this old trend is right during Trump's last term, then we might see this thing. Oh, that's not a good view. We might see this thing get even better. So I would love to see that. I would love to see that. It'd be really beneficial for Tesla. Yeah, we can look at a bunch of different things. Hey Jesse, what do you think about MU right now? Do you think it can still flush? I don't know about Micron. I mean, I'm way more focused on Tesla and Bitcoin right now than these other plays. I just don't think that I don't think there's as much of an asymmetric opportunity right now on some of these other plays. We should look at chips though. We should go over a bunch of things. Let's we do have some time. Let's do the news real fast, and then we'll just look through everything else, okay? And then we'll start looking through charts because today is a pretty chill day, I think. And I want to get through a lot of charts. I think that's going to be important. Let's look at U.S. economy. Again, we covered a weak dollar potentially in our near future. I love that. And if you guys have any news events too, especially on X where you can share links, do it. Also, the price of tomorrow for anybody who's gotten through the Bitcoin standard and looking for another book, the price of tomorrow is super important. This is historical price of computer storage. And look at the price declines over time, guys. There was $1 million per terabyte of storage in about 2005, right? $1 million per terabyte of storage, right? And then I don't even know what it's at right now. That was on flash. Everything switched to solid state. So we'll just take that transition. And now look at it down here. Now it's like $50 per terabyte of storage, where it was $1 million in 2005. So in 19 years, we went from $1 million to $50. This is why you need to read The Price of Tomorrow. This is what's happening with the future of the world, is deflation in prices. We're going to see lower and lower prices because of technology. Yeah, you're reading The Price of Tomorrow, Oak? Awesome. It's a really good book. But look at this. We went from $1 million less than 20 years ago to $50. And it's not just here. Look at like big screen TVs, cars. Look at the tech that Elon has in his cars. There's so much that lowers our expenses. The only thing that increases our expenses is the government money printer that we have to fix, okay? That's it. My buddy Michael says, Germany, France, and Italy, 3 largest economies in Europe, have been stagnating for years. Grotesque overregulation, lack of innovation, and left redistribution mindset, replacing hard work and entrepreneurial spirit, have their price. What needs to happen for Europe to grow again? And the thing I love about this is you can see that pandemic in 2020, and look at the countries that rebounded out of it. It's actually the United States and Spain. When you look at Europe, like these are the 2 countries that were actually bouncing out of it at an appropriate angle and continuing kind of the trend they had before. And I think the United States is actually going to be accelerating. I don't know about Spain. I don't know well enough on their conditions. Maybe some of you do. But this is what we want to see. And these guys over here, France, Italy, Germany, buy. Germany's just dead. And it makes me sad because I love that place. Special situation, large cap corporate leverages are low. This is a positive, right? I like to go back and forth and mess with people's minds, making them think about both sides of what's going on in the world around them. And so it said corporates are also in good shape. It shows financials below COVID levels and roughly in line with historical levels for the big corporate companies. It says corporates have been able to adapt to higher rates, and corporate balance sheets are in good shape. Non-financial leverages have come down from COVID levels and is in line with historical averages, while financial leverages is just off historic lows. 80% of debt is long-term fixed, and large cap corporates have limited refinancing risk relative to small caps. So small caps have the most refinancing risk right now, right? That's the only thing holding back the Tom Lee trade. Can you elaborate on Germany? German economy is dead. Yeah, they're just fucked. Their entire auto sector is going to disappear, and they've messed up bad. They're heavily dependent upon China. They're screwed. They're absolutely screwed. They're one of the most screwed in the European Union. All right, but it says it shows financials leverage still near historic lows. Look at this, guys. Look at the financial leverage of large corporate companies. Look at this. Way down here, way down here. That's great. It means they're stable and it means they're sound. We want that. It says nearly 80% of large cap corporate debt is long term fixed. That's great too. It's not a bunch of short term related debt, it's long term. And so they have stability there as well. Large cap value sectors have been trained to survive without capital, for example. Energy, supply discipline, and cash return prioritized over production. It says energy capex is a percentage of operating cash flow. So again, these guys are they're in great shape. Big companies are in great shape. Dennis Nuber says Germany is absolutely dying. My family lives there and it's a nightmare. Yeah, it is. It's a mess. Lots of bad decisions there. Seth Golden says from within Phenom Group's October 2022 research report, since 1982, when 60/40 portfolio fell 20% in a given year, the subsequent 2 calendar years both delivered a minimum of 15% returns. So what he's saying is because of what happened in 2022, the next 2 years are likely to do really well. Well, 2023 did really well. 2024 did. I think it's 2022, right? That's what I'm seeing. Yeah. So the next two did really well, and I agree with that. But we've kind of also passed those, Seth. So I'm not sure what you're talking about here. All right, let's keep going. This is me. This will be our future if we don't intelligently manage immigration. Yeah. So I was just jumping on the immigration train because I was getting pissed off by people, and this is just showing Japan. Japan is trying to increase their foreign population. They're trying to because their population is declining so much. They're desperate. I seem quiet lately. I don't feel like I'm a quiet person. Are you talking about in posts? If you're talking about posts, I actually just took off for the holiday and took some time off. I had a bunch of grand plans for things I was going to do in the channel, but I am a human being, so I like to enjoy my life. All right, Brian, top 10 richest people in the world. We already looked at that. It's all Americans. I won't play around with that one. Let's keep going. All right, Trump. And if my voice is quiet, let me know. I can turn up the mic. So again, Walter Bloomberg just saying Trump backs Musk on foreign skilled workers debate. I love that. Elon says the reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of the H-1B visa. Take a big step back and fuck yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. If you don't believe Elon Musk, you should. You should. And again, it looks like there's more H-1B visa stuff. A couple of other things. It's the Attorney General Ken Pax said, this is on the 27th, we have successfully blocked the Biden administration from disposing of any further border wall materials before Trump takes office. That's great. George said, breaking, Mexican officials are launching a phone app that allows illegal migrants to send alerts to their relatives if they're about to get arrested by President Trump's deportation forces. It said, in case you find yourself in a situation, so basically if they're getting arrested, you've got this app. And it says the Mexican government has also set up a 24/7 call center to answer migrants' questions and has hired additional consular staff to help process deportations. Currently, they expect deportations of up to 5 million illegals out of the United States. So they're getting ready to help, right? They don't want to get huge tariffs. They don't want to see their economy get fucked. So they're getting ready to help with deportations. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a really good thing. All right, let's keep going. Bitcoin. I think the H-1B visa has its place, but if some of the things coming out are true, it's that most of them aren't true. And you're right, it needs to be revised. If it was being abused by the Biden administration, a completely different fucking regime than Trump and Elon Musk and Vivek and all these other guys, then that was a problem, right? But do you think that's happening under Trump? No, it's not. It's a fucking stupid argument. People that are fighting back and forth over this stuff are idiots. It's not a big deal. We want more legal immigration of the rich and the best and the brightest from around the world and people that are patriots and love this country. We want those kind of people. Just because we had a bunch of bad immigration doesn't mean we don't want good immigration. I'm sorry. And if you are truly a racist that doesn't like seeing a bunch of people that are different skin color, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. America was built off of immigration. People who don't like people who don't look like them can go fuck off. I just want, yeah, meritocracy, like Amit said. I want there to be good people in this country that are hardworking, love their families, and have similar values to my own. I don't give a shit outside of that. All right, MP has something here. It says, this is an interesting perspective on the macro. He says that global liquidity isn't going down if valued in Bitcoin. I mean,
hey guys, this is market update. You might have seen some.
Yeah, I'll watch this later. How long is it? It's 9 minutes. Yeah, I don't want to spend 9 minutes on it without betting it. I'll look through it and check it out, MP. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll take a look and see what he has to say. All right, let's keep going. Oh, that's the wrong one. I did think this was interesting. I don't know where it comes from, though. I don't know if it's real. It says, breaking, President Xi Jinping says he's ready to strengthen relations with the U.S. under Trump. And then it's like, oh, okay, where'd that come from? Oh, it came from Bricks News. Well, Bricks News is like one of the least accurate places I've ever heard from. And I don't see any links whatsoever. So does anybody know if this is real? I'd love to know if it is. MicroStrategy has acquired. Oh, we got a new MicroStrategy news. More BTC. See, he went light. I think he went light. I am not surprised by that. I actually think that's the right choice. 2,138. That sounds about right. I think that's the right move. I think you go light. Because I think we can still drop, and you want to be able to buy that. So anybody who took a little extra cash last week, you're not feeling too bad today, I don't think, guys. I'm not. Would love some hopium from MSTR. Biggest position and hard not to sell since I got it around 335. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's hard. Like, I'm glad I sold last week. It's only down about 3-4%, I think, from where I sold it. So it's not like a huge amount, but it makes me feel better knowing that I'm directionally right so far. But I'm also looking to buy. I might even buy a little bit today. If it drops down hard, I'll probably buy a lot. I think you should think about long term, unless you're trying to catch a falling knife like I do. And again, I'm only doing this, guys. I've only got 15% cash. About 4% of that, or 3.5%, somewhere around there, is dedicated towards paying bills. So I really only have like 11% cash, 10 to 11%. It's not that much money. So it's not like I'm crazy bearish. DeFi Investor said Hong Kong is now considering to establish a national BTC reserve. Again, not just Hong Kong, guys, but we got Brazil that was talking about doing it. We got Cynthia Loomis and the United States and Donald Trump talking about doing it. Even so, though some of the things I've read are just like, in no way is Donald Trump calling for a $270 trillion Bitcoin reserve. But I'm seeing headlines like that because people are conflating a bunch of different things to come up with their own numbers, which is just stupid. If anything, that's likely to turn the Trump administration away from making it a reserve. I just wish we wouldn't see bullshit articles like that. Adam says, James from Invest says that anything around 330 is a good buy. Yeah, he's probably right. What is it at right now? 320. Goodbye. Goodbye. Yeah, so again, just Hong Kong legislator proposing a Bitcoin reserve. James talking about for 8 weeks in a row, Sailor's been buying Bitcoin. Quentin, and again, I like to give all sides of the story, just showing the 4-year cycles here, and then up here on 2025. And he's saying these are usually really positive years for Bitcoin. I think that's great. This is FTX claim distribution, guys. So that's going to be happening. Let's just look here. So Intel Fox said FTX will start paying $16 billion in claims from January 3rd. So it's January 3rd when the payouts are going to be. And then somebody was nice enough to show FTX claim distribution when compared to BTC ETF inflows, Mt. Gox, German government selling pressure, and Michael Saylor average buy. So what we're looking at here with the capital injection, I won't go into all of this, but it says allowed claims 11.2, claims owned by credit funds 5, total X distress claims 6.2. So capital injection even at 45, it says recycle liquidity ratio at 45%, it would be 2.8. that puts it closer to the buy pressure of the German government. And when that happened, the buy pressure actually, or I should say the sell pressure actually dropped Bitcoin's price a decent amount. And it's a lot more than the average buy. Oh, you can't see it. The average buy of Sailor of 0.2. So this could be some reasonable buy pressure that comes in on January 3rd. So if you're looking for some hopium, Kevin, maybe it's that, right? Maybe it's the dollar actually starting to retrace. Maybe it's me showing you that during Trump's last presidency, the dollar ramped into it because of all these fears, but then it started to taper off over time. And maybe that same playbook is going to be happening here. At the same time, we're seeing capital inflows that could be the reverse amount of what we saw when the German government was selling their Bitcoin. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Vivek, Ethiopia made over 100 million by mining Bitcoin via renewable energy. I mean, if you're Ethiopia, you're going to keep doing that, right? Why is BTC dropping despite Sailor scooping up all new supply? Because he's 0.2 for the inflows, and the German government sell pressure was 3.5, and the BTC ETF inflows are 17.3. And again, he's just one person. Now, I know this is hard for people to get. Everybody's very short-sighted when it comes to Bitcoin price action. They're like, I heard that there was going to be supply shock dynamics and that Bitcoin was going to go to the moon by now. It's like, yeah, it went from 15 to 108 fucking $1,000. It is happening. But if you're short-sighted and you look at a very small time frame, you won't see it. But the supply shock is ramping, and it's going to get more and more powerful. I tell you what, if we see this distribution up here, if we see this distribution for FTX, and at the same time we see the U.S. announce a strategic reserve, it's going to get fucking wild in the near future. It's going to get really wild. So I don't know. Again, here's the thing. You guys that are afraid today, you know why you're afraid? Because you don't have cash like me. That's why you're afraid. Me, I'm like, drop, motherfucker. Drop. I'm excited. I am stoked today. I'm happy that we're at 93,000. I want to see this thing down at 91. I want to see it in the 80s. I want that because we're in a bull market and I'm stoked. I want to see this thing drop Bitcoin, drop hard. You'd have that same mentality if you had a little bit of cash on the sidelines too. But it's just all psychology. It's all psychology. Yeah, Raku wants to see 70s. I could take some upper 70s. I could take that. I could totally take that. Bitwise. So again, I don't remember if it wasn't Strike. It was like Strive. Strive was the Vivek, the one that was trying to give people access to the convertible bond market. Getting ready to drop under 93 right now, guys. Yay. But now we got Bitwise proposes new ETF tracking major BTC holding companies. So we got a company now that's trying to do the stock side of that, creating a bucket for these. And then at the same time, we have the Strive group looking to do that for the bond side of things. I love it. I think this is all great. It's all good for the market. And I just got to show this. This is just showing how long it took the gold ETFs to ramp and how long it took Bitcoin. If you're not patient enough for this, guys, if you're not okay with this thing going into the 80s today, if you're not okay for a couple of down days and you don't think that this is impressive and that this isn't going to create the supply shock that everybody keeps talking about, I can't help you. You should just quit. You should just quit. It's okay to be a quitter. Some people aren't cut out for investing at all. If the historical trends are right, we have at least another 5 months in the bull market I marked over here. So if you look over here, it just lines them up from the halving date, I believe, yeah. And it shows over here in 2017 how that came to an end around the 380-day mark. We're currently around the 250. So we've got about roughly 130, 150 days. So 4 to 5 months-ish. But it could also go out even further. If you look over here, we really topped over here at 500 days. I believe this cycle was weird, though. This cycle was weird last time around because of the government hiking rates at the most aggressive rate in history. Just killed the market. But then over here, we can see that this one in 2016, is that 2016? Oh, that's 2016. What is this one? 2012. Okay. So yeah, you could see how these actually, it looks like 550 days. So really what it's telling us is we have almost 300 days. So 10 months till the peak based upon historical trends. And the 2016 was 5 months. So we have at least 5 to 10 months that we're looking at, guys, as far as the trend for this cycle based upon historical trends. And again, these older time frames, if you look here, the peak as far as days on the last cycle and then the one before it were almost identical. We're almost identical. And even if you miss a cycle, guys, there's something I want to show you that's very, very fascinating. So if you miss the cycle peak and things are turning around, you have some time. You have some time to be okay. Like over here, look at this. See where we dropped over here? We dropped, it doesn't show the level, but we dropped really, really hard. You could have bought over here like it was a regular market cycle buy zone. And then you still could have sold it up here. And the return you would have gotten would have been like selling at the peak. And again, like over here, drop really hard, bounce back up. You bought heavy down here. You sold up here because you started to look around and you're like, oh, I don't know. I don't feel super confident. And you still could have got out like you were at the peak. So this time, though, just got destroyed because, again, raising rates to the most effective rate in history just created this artificial decline. But historically, you could still like hit the peak, miss it, and still come out like you didn't. And I don't know. That might be one of the strategies I deploy with at least part of my portfolio. Oh, let's see what else we got. MicroStrategy is going vertical. Yeah, that Treasury Reserve strategy. If in case you didn't understand the depth of how much he's increased his buying, it's huge. Well, we're under 93K, guys. It's gonna be a good day. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love the down days, guys. Love them, love them, love them, love them. I think Marty Party says 91K is max leverage liquidation. Yeah, but you can overshoot. Jordan, you should look into TMC, the metals company. They've just received a U.S. congressional mandate for 2025 Defense Department feasibility study on nodule refining. With Trump coming in and regulations relaxing, America First mentality in America wanting to decouple from critical minerals in China. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I definitely want to research more about the tech sector. And again, you guys helped with like Drone Shield, ONDS, MTEK, KTOS, SPAI, and I'll add TMC for a metals group on the list. I get very intrigued by a lot of these. MSTR is at what now? 317. Whoop, whoop, down 3.7. I'm going to be a buyer today, guys. I'm going to start nibbling this morning, guys. Definitely going to start nibbling. Victor Hernandez, yeah, Jesse, that looks to me like timing the market. That's risky, at least to my new guys. Yeah, if you're new, you definitely shouldn't. I'm very confident in my abilities. I'm not always right, but I'm very confident in them, and because I usually am. But you have to have that confidence too. Like otherwise, for not. Kumar, good morning, Jesse. Given this pullback in 2025, how long do you think Tesla will drop next year? Not long. I don't think any of this lasts long. Tesla's under 420. Woot woot. I don't think any of this lasts long, and that's why I'm so excited about it. I think it's just a brilliant. I mean, I think it's just brilliant. I'm very excited about what's happening. Probably putting like 50K in today, maybe 100,000 today into the markets. Mark, Jesse, good morning. What are the chances that we've seen the top for the BTC cycle and it never actually... No, that's not even fucking close. 0.1%, Mark. That's my take. We're at 0.1% that we've seen the top in Bitcoin this cycle. And that it never rises 0.01. So if you like those odds, if you like being on the 0.01% odd train, then it's great opportunity for you to just give up. You will slowly buy Clean Spark Leaps today. I don't know. I might put like 10K towards them. I'm loving the pain this morning. I mean, Clean Spark's down 4% this morning. Ah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know if I get back into MSTX. I just don't like the tracking and shit. If anything, I'll probably end up doing like a MicroStrategy call. But I don't even know if they're that attractive. Let's look real quickly. You know what? We should do this. Let's focus on MicroStrategy. This is, I didn't really pull up the calls for this. If anybody, Matthew or anybody's watching, this would be a great place to do a video about MicroStrategy MSTR calls. So here's where we are right now, guys. In the morning, we're right down here, okay? We're right down here. Broken under the 50, just like I was talking about. This is where we want to go lower, much, much lower. And I'm actually going to make an argument here. I want to make an argument here. And we'll pull up the options in a second. I'm going to make this argument, okay? I want to make this argument that this is what we're actually seeing for support right here. And this almost perfectly coincides. I draw this up. I draw this down. So this is what I'm saying is happening right now, that we could have a drop. It gets us down to maybe like 280s, and then we find support in here. Maybe we wick underneath of it for a second. Or again, maybe it's up over here and it just wicks down and then it comes back up. But I could totally see us flushing out this gap over here on MicroStrategy, and I don't like MSTX to fill it. But what do I think about MSTR? Oh, why did I just pull that up again? What do I think about this? Like, so let's just look. Let's look at leaps for MSTR that are like, I hate to do this because this so defies everything I've been talking about with delevering, but let's say 850. I'm just curious. I want to see. Let's say like 800, something like that. So we'll look at MicroStrategy. And again, we don't want to go too far out. June 2020. Oh, no. Ooh, they got a September? They got a September 2025, yo. What? I like that. That looks hot. All right, let me see here. So I'm just going to be conservative. We'll say 800. I'm just trying to get an idea of the price here. These are almost $4,000 contracts, by the way. Let's just say 25. So I get 25 of them. Nothing crazy. $100,000. So this is to September. So let's say we get up to here. I don't love the contracts. They're not much better than CleanSpark. I mean, maybe that gets better if they drop. So if the price drops and these contracts, let's say they get down to like 32. Let's say they get down to 32. If they get down to 32 and we give ourselves time, like I think that MicroStrategy can easily get back up to here, the 550 range, in a very short order period of time, right? So let's go back over here. So let's say it does it by April. I still don't like it. I don't like the contracts. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think MSTX, MSTU, or MicroStrategy calls are worth it. Now, don't get me wrong. They could climb and it could do really well. Maybe by May or June, you're in the 800s. Then it becomes a little bit better. Then it's like almost 3x or 200% increase. But my bare minimum threshold is usually a 3x. And I just don't know if it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it to apply leverage right now, just in case something weird happens in the months ahead. Victor, but these simulations is working with actual price drop. What I'm showing right now is incorporating that. I'm saying the contracts got cheaper. So I'm saying the contracts got down to like $32. Right now, I think they're at 38. So I'm saying they're cheaper. I'm saying they went down more than that. But again, it's not, the contracts are really expensive. People are paying a premium for these things. So I don't love it. Jesse, please check Hood chart. You think it will cover the gap now? Yeah, we can look at all that. Can you show your CleanSpark leaps in the calculator? Yeah. Okay, I can do that. And they're not much better, but again, I've got enough leverage already. I don't want to apply more. I don't want to apply more to anything. But the CleanSpark ones, I think, are getting a lot better, especially if you got a lower entry than me. I actually think the CleanSpark ones look better than. Here, one sec. I'm just logging in because I got to remember what they are and how much I got. I know it's like July and 37. I want to say. I think it's 37. Oh, I guess I have 980,000 in cash. I have 0 CleanSpark options. Looking for entry if attractive. Cool. Yeah. CleanSpark's down 3.6% this morning, so it's down a little bit. I have a lot in this one though. 2750. That's a lot of contracts. Oh, and again, with miners, guys, there's still the worry that these things can get crushed. But yeah, let's look at CleanSpark real quick. Let's pull up the chart. So I think CleanSpark in short order could get back to its previous high. That's like around 24.25. Right now it's down here in the 945 range. So let's just say it gets to 24.25. I can do it by April. You got a 272% return. This is off of my contract, or is this off my contract price? Oh, mine's worse. Mine's much worse. So mine, I'm definitely still exiting at a decent amount. Yeah, mine's much worse. So, and let's do this. Let's look at what max target here. 40. I think 40 is still right. So let's do this. 40. Yeah. So I've got until about, like, let's say, let me just raise it a little bit because it's not quite showing. Let me do like 41. So it tries to, there we go. That's better. So if we get up to 40 by like June or something, it's not great. Yeah. So it's 400% off of a 322% move. So for me, it sucks. It's not great at this particular price level. But let's say for instance we get a run up into like February or something, and we get to where it was close to its other high, and it's like at the 258 range. I'm probably dumping a lot of my calls. Like if we get into the 20s, I'm probably dumping a lot of my calls and just switching to stocks because I don't think it's worth the risk. So even this one, MicroStrategy and this, I can't tell you guys to buy them. I got bags in them. It would help me if you buy them. But I personally don't like either of these options right now. I don't. Now, it gets better, though, if you look at what the current price is. It's like at 103, it says. So if you're just entering now, it is a better price. Let's say 101. Let's say 101. It could even be lower than that today. And so if you're doing that and we get up into the 20s, oh yeah, it's better for you guys now. It's a lot better for you now. So it's like April would be 372% increase, would be 174. So it does look better now, but again, I just don't know if it's worth it, guys. Tom Lee's coming up on Squawk. Ooh, we got to watch that. Let me know. I'll keep an eye on it and pull him up when he's here. But yeah, so I just don't love the CleanSpark options right now. I can't really recommend it. It's better than when I did it because mine have just been beat up. Again, options are a combination of intrinsic and extrinsic value. And the intrinsic value is actually the difference between what the strike price was and then how much it's above or below, right? That's the intrinsic value, the actual value. And then the extrinsic is the premium. It's the amount that people are paying extra for time. The extra part for time has been crushed on these options. Anybody who bought really short-dated ones just got fucked. So I don't love it. I did want to say something else real quick here. Bitcoin ETFs. CryptoQuant CEO He Yongju dismissed the idea that private coin join transactions are mostly used by hackers to launder stolen funds. So what he's saying in here is if you look here, there's been a massive amount of coin join transactions. Now, people say to launder funds. I would say just to get funds out of a country like China. But if you look here, you can definitely see that either whales are hiding their purchases. Now, whether it's people trying to get out of China, which I believe it is, look at what happened in 2023, in 2024. Look at the amount of coin join transactions that we're seeing where people are buying massive amounts and they're trying to get the fuck out of somewhere for some reason. And so, again, I just think this is one of those things where people are underestimating what's happening in China, but we can see that there's buying pressure, I think, coming into Bitcoin, which again is benefiting all of us. What was this? Wait, so if Metaplanet is the best performing stock in Japan, MicroStrategy is the best performing stock in the USA, and Bitcoin is the best performing commodity, MicroStrategy's convertibles are the best performing bonds and the fastest growing network. Are we winning? Yes, we're winning. We're winning. All right, is this Tom Lee? Let's see. Let me go to live here.
Going on in the futures. We're down 20 points on the Dow, and we had just fractional losses. And here you go. It has turned into this, Tom Lee, significant declines now, especially
Kirby AI, ask me that question again in a bit.
After what happened last week on Friday. Tom Lee's here, Fundstrat Global Advisor.
So again, Tom's taking some heat. He called for the Santa Claus rally. He's called for small caps. Things haven't played out perfectly, but Tom Lee is great and he's brilliant. So let's listen to what he has to say, see if there's anything interesting. And maybe I just end up winning this round and Tom doesn't. That's fine.
Chief Investment Officer and a CNBC contributor. This is not this is a Grinch rally or the Grinch sell-off. This is not a Santa Claus rally. It's not going as planned, Tom.
It's not. I think investors have been a bit nervous since December 18th, the FOMC rate decision, and worried that the Fed may not be as dovish as investors previously thought. But I think fundamentals have remained intact. So to us, I think this is a bit disappointing, but it's, I think, a bit of profit taking, some hesitancy around the Fed. But I think it doesn't really change that 2025 is shaping up to have a lot of tailwinds.
I agree.
So this just delays some of the continuation
in the Fed. I agree with that too.
A secular bull market that you've been talking about?
That's right. I mean, I think one of the lessons of 2024 has been we've seen periods of market wobbling and weakness. We know investors get pretty quick to turn bearish when that happens, but it turns out that these have all proven to be buying opportunities. I don't think there's a lot of signal to me that December's been a weak month. It is obviously disappointing because it should be a seasonally strong period, but
see, I think the big thing that Tom's missing is he's not paying attention to global liquidity. I think he needs to spend more time with global liquidity. I think if he did that, he would up his game. And again, I love him on so many other aspects. He's way better than I am, but I think he needs to listen to people like Michael Howell and incorporate that into his thesis.
If we, end down even, S&P 5,900 into year end, I don't think it just changes that in 2025. There's a lot to look forward to.
So what you thought might happen this year being put off. So what does that mean for next year? Let's say the first half of next year. What do you think we're in for? And, with valuations and where multiples are right now, with all that in mind, do you think it could be a really positive first half of the year?
I do think that one of the things that we're watching most closely is what happens to CEO confidence early next year.
It's still very
they've been
strong.
cautious for the last 2.5 years. It's really evident in looking at measures like the ISM manufacturing that's been below 50 since October 2022. And that's highly correlated with S&P earnings growth. I do think that that's going to finally recover to above 50, kind of signaling that we're back into an expansionary CEO mindset. It is purchasing managers. On top of that, we have an incoming administration that ultimately is going to be viewed by markets as pro-business, and I think that reignites animal spirits. And I think the Fed is going to prove to be dovish. Even if they're trying to figure out where neutral is, they're still supportive of markets. It's a good combination for I think upside for equity. So, in the first half of next year, I think S&P can get close to 7,000, and that's a lot of upside from here.
7,000. You've made some prescient calls about inflation,
actually,
or about the markets based on inflation. Do you think recent worries that it's reheating are misplaced right now?
I do think inflation worries are misplaced. I know there's a lot of folks calling for a resurgence of inflation, and I know for whatever reason, January typically doesn't seem to be seasonally adjusted away, so we could see what looks like a surge in January CPI. But to me, the drivers of inflation are wages, and the Fed has said the labor market is not in a place that is inflationary. It's shelter, and we know shelter is really just catching up from the gap between where market prices are, which is not as inflationary, to how the statistical adjustments get CPI to where that needs to be. And we know auto insurance has really distorted CPI to the upside for the last few years, and that's cooling. So unless there is a supply shock coming, I don't know exactly why we would have a second wave of inflation. So to me, I think there's downside risk to inflation in 2025.
I do agree with that unless tariffs go from threat to implementation for a period of time. But again, if global liquidity is dissipating, you can still see downward price action. And I think that continues into January, guys, because you got to remember there are people like me that weren't playing around with IRAs. They were playing around with their long-term investment accounts, and they didn't want to take profits now. They want to wait until January, right? So, but now the market is dropping, and they're like, fuck, I need to get out come January. Hopefully the market doesn't drop too much between now and the end of the year, because you have these people again that are getting out now in their IRAs because they can because they don't have a tax obligation until they actually withdraw funds. So they're closing down some positions and adding cash like I did last week, and like I've done when I delevered, almost 2 weeks ago, from 2.5 million dollars in investments. So they're removing leverage from their portfolios, and then at the same time, and the triple witching, all that stuff, like you could just see options just got crushed, guys, in the last month. They just got crushed. If you're not in them, be happy because they got crushed. And so if you look at that and you see how much those got crushed, and then you see this more aggressive selling when we were promised a Santa Claus rally, but instead we have MicroStrategy down 4.2% today, and CleanSpark down 4.4%, and Palantir down 3.5%. And you're just like, fuck, I need to wait until January 1st, then I'm getting the fuck out. And so I think that if anything, we can see an accelerated push in the coming days of more downside price action. So I'm a nibbler. I'm a nibbler and a buyer. Maybe even I put 100,000 in today. I don't know. That would still leave me, $870,000. But I'm a nibbler and I'm a buyer because I like buying dips. I like getting that juicy money because again, it's fun. And it's psychologically beneficial to be able to have some cash and be able to buy. But I would just be prepared for again a wave of people trying to sell now because they're afraid. They're like, shit. All right, it's December 30th. What is there? Is there 31st? Is there 31st? Anyway, so there's a couple days of selling pressure, and between the people in their IRAs, and then again the people that aren't in their IRAs, they're going to have to do it at the beginning of the year. So I could see a crush, and when it gets crushed, I'm not buying probably leverage, but I am, and I'm probably not even getting CleanSpark calls today. They just don't look attractive to me, and I've got plenty. So I'm just going to buy the underlying assets. It's boring, I know, but I think this is the time where you're boring. There's times where you aren't. There's times where you are. I'm going to buy maybe CleanSpark today. I'm going to buy MicroStrategy today, just the stock. I'm going to buy maybe some Tesla today because it's down 3%. I'm going to buy some of my favorite things. Hell, I might buy some fucking Palantir, just like nibble it, just to get my positioning started. SoFi, Palantir, I'm probably going to get into those, maybe some more into the chips. I'm just going to do little bits. Tax loss harvesting pressure? Not really, because I think most people have made too much money. I think it's the opposite of that. I think people wanted to sell at the beginning of the year. If they have long-term accounts and they're not in IRAs, tax-advantaged accounts, I think they wanted to sell at the beginning of the year. But I think people in their IRAs are front-running them. And I think big money and quants too are deleveraging, and so they're just fucking people right and left. Everybody that's been so long in calls are getting fucked right now. That's my take. Albert, the bigger the BTC sell-off, the better balance sheets of companies that hodl BTC will look in quarters due to FASB accounting rules. Bigger the BTC. Oh, I mean, if they buy more. Man Mahindra, Jesse, will you take any position in Hood? Yeah, probably. Just stock. I'm probably going to nibble on all these things today, guys. I'm just going to be just buying them. Hope MicroStrategy comes back. Big lol. My MSTX is hurting. Sorry, man. Glad I'm new and didn't have much money in it. That's good. That's good. Some MU analysis, please, Jesse. I don't know if I have a lot of analysis. Let's listen to the rest of the Tom Lee. Real quick here, guys. Member for 2 months, Alpha. Hey, what's up, MKBG? Sir, what is your thoughts on Hood? I've been loading since down to 37. Is there ABY more downside to Hood to get? Yeah, we'll look at all that stuff in a second. Let's just listen to Tom Lee real quick.
Well, then there's upside risk to a slowdown in the economy.
Wouldn't it be better to buy in January? Here's the thing. At any point, the narrative can change. So if you guys are looking for the perfect signal for buy and sells and you're going to perfectly time the tops and the bottoms, have fun, do it. If you have the ability to do that, that's awesome. And I root for you. Okay. But I don't have the ability to perfectly time everything. So I slowly, I start with small amounts and I nibble. I'm probably going to buy Palantir today. I mean, how crazy is that? It's down 3.5%. I'll put a couple grand towards it. Couple G's, sure. I'll buy SoFi today. I'll probably put more towards that. Don't forget to buy some PayPal. I've got a lot of PayPal. I've got like 400,000 plus in PayPal. I probably don't need to buy more PayPal because I want to start a position. I realized I don't even have a share. So, and again, guys, I don't know how to clarify this. But if I'm buying $1,000 today in Palantir, that is jack shit. I can wipe my ass with $1,000. I mean, not literally. That's $1,000. Why would anybody do that? But my whole point is that it's just a little, tiny amount, and you don't ever get into something unless you start putting money into it. And so I've said that with Palantir, and let me just pull it up here real quick. I've said that I will buy Palantir as it drops. I think we finally hit the top, and I think we're starting to drop. I think we're making that descent. I'll put 1,000 here. Maybe I'll put 2,000 here. Maybe I'll put 10,000 down here. Maybe I'll put 50 down here. Maybe 100 down here. I add on the way down, man. It's what I do. It's how I've gotten rich. So everybody's got their different ways of doing it, but that's how I got rich. All right, let me go back over here. I want to finish the rest of the Tom Lee, and then we can get back more to the conversation here.
Yes, there is uncertainty and risk to the economy from both the risk of tariffs. Now, that's the market's fearful of tariffs.
No,
I don't think that that's something that should be baked into people's forecasts. And of course, the second is if the Fed is overly tight right now, that could lead to softness to the economy. But I don't think that in that second case, that's when the Fed put gets invoked, and I think that provides downside protection for markets.
Maybe if Powell plays ball, but Powell seemed to be a dick in the last conference call. Like, he was a dick. It seemed almost politically motivated that he was going after Trump and that he was unhappy or not confident. It didn't seem good at all. So I don't know. And again, back to the Palantir thing, guys, it's just, I DCA on the way down. I start with small amounts, and then the farther it drops, I make more, I put more into it. And then the farther it drops, I put more into it. And then the farther it drops, I put more into it. I increase the purchases on the way down, the closer we get to my targets. And for a site like, or a company like Palantir, my target is probably 45, something like that, where we just have this massive, and with the ability for it to go lower, for it to go into the upper 30s, I think. I don't know. I think that's a good buy zone. Could it go even further? Maybe. I would just probably stack more there too, because I do think Palantir is a real company, and I think they're becoming embedded with the U.S. government. So I'd want to add to that position too. I probably wouldn't make it more than 10% of my portfolio. But I'd slowly buy on the way down. Again, I'm not going to buy if I put anything in. It's like $1,000 today. What are your thoughts on Finance of America Corporation as a real estate play? I don't know anything about it. I can't even speak to it. Palantir is such a good company. If I wasn't all in on Tesla and Bitcoin, I would own it. Yeah, I think it's a good company, but I also love like Argentina. There's so many other plays I like. And the upside, I think, on this one's going to be limited for a while. So I don't think, if you're looking to get rich quick, I don't think you're going to be getting any of that from Palantir anytime soon. I think it's going to be a slower process now. Now, I do want to let me just go over Tesla news real quick, guys. It's 8 o'clock or 8:04. We have about 24 minutes, 25 minutes until we hear the bell. I do want to real quickly go over Tesla-related news, and then maybe just hit a couple of others, and then we'll go into charts, heavy charts. Tesla Chan says China insurance deliveries last week are expected to show the highest sales volume on record this year. So again, pretty decent numbers for December. when compared to historical, though, China's fairly weak. Herbert Ong, I love Herbert. He's such a good guy. He wanted me to come on his show too. He's talking to, I don't remember this name, Next Big Future on here. I should probably follow him. Let me just add him real quick. I think he's pretty smart. He's got a good job with evaluation. He believes that Tesla's price by the end of 2025 could be 1,000 to 1,500. I think that's overly optimistic, but I like the way he's thinking. I think that even just getting to 900 is a lot. If we got to 900, we're talking about what, almost a $3 trillion company. So I think this is too much. He says the big jump depends on Tesla's licensing FSD to companies like BYD, Ford, Geely, plus launching unsupervised robotaxis and more. But yeah, I believe the MSTX is probably painful, man. I believe it. Elon Musk says, just a reminder that the algorithm is trying to maximize unregretted user seconds. So some of the people that were shitting on Elon and basically calling him a communist and woke left and all this other stuff and saying that he's the enemy now, I think he's trying to let them know, I wasn't censoring you, but you might have a bunch of people blocking and muting you, and that does not help your reach. He says, so just a reminder that the algorithm trying to maximize unregretted user seconds. If far more credible, verified subscriber accounts, not bots, mute or block your account compared to those who like your post, your reach will decline significantly. So if you're saying something that really just, like, let's say you're going against Elon Musk and there's a bunch of fanboys like me and you're shitting all over him and saying things that aren't factually accurate and maybe enrage people and they're like, why the fuck do I even follow this guy? And they mute you or block you, and these are big accounts, you're fucked for a while. You're going to see your reach drop significantly because, again, these are bigger name accounts. So try not to be a complete dipshit so that you don't hurt your reach. I think that's the gist of it. Dalton Brewer said 99.99% of people have no clue Teslas are actually robots on wheels and can drive themselves autonomously. You know, I take people every once in a while, guys, on car rides and show them my car driving itself. And I'm amazed by how unimpressed they are. It's like they're like, oh, okay, well, cars can drive themselves, whatever. I like driving cars. That's the comment I get from a lot of people. And I'm just like, no other cars do this. But you know, again, they just don't get it. The majority of people don't get it, I think, is what Dalton's saying. And I agree. Yeshu, worrying about how many cars Tesla will deliver in Q4 is like worrying about how many books Amazon sold in Q3 of 2003. Don't miss the forest for the trees. I agree. Breaking, free lifetime supercharging with Tesla Cybertruck purchase. I would actually say that this is because they're trying to sell them and having a harder time. There's a lot of backlash against the Cybertruck. People fucking hate it. I know, I own one. I get the middle finger all the time. Some people just fucking hate it. And I don't understand why. It's the best vehicle I've ever owned. But, and I think it's beautiful, but you know, not everybody thinks the same way that I do. By the way, guys, 92.5, it looks like we're getting ready to break underneath that support zone, which is great. Stephen Toro, I want to start doing what you're doing at a smaller scale, Spanish audience. I know you're not an expert and you're learning, but would you share tips on your setup, screen, chat, mic? Yeah, my mic is Shure. My setup is OBS. You have to use OBS. OBS 30.1.2. It is the only way to set your stuff up. You can watch videos on it. It works great. And then I stream. I use something called the Restream. It's right over here. I'll just show it to you real quick. It's right over here. This is me. And so Restream takes the stream. I basically point OBS to it, and then it pushes it out to X, and it pushes it out to YouTube, so I can dual stream at the same time. And so that's really handy. And then camera, I'm using my Mac, actually. My Mac has the best one. Just getting a portable Mac. It's like the Max something. I don't even know. It was like $4,000. It was a nice computer. And then I've got a couple of lights that are up over here. And then I've got an LG TV that I actually use as my computer screen. And then I've got a couple of Dells. Well, one of them was broken when I got it, but two 32-inch OLED Dells on the side. And I love it. But if you just get OBS and get like a Mac, I'd use a Mac. I wouldn't use a Windows PC. You're going to be doing great. Drivers for other stuff just suck. I hated my Windows one. Sealess, electric grids need expansion worldwide. Everyone cannot adopt EVs as soon as something. Yeah, we need to expand the grid. We also, I mean, people need to build in like power walls and do all these other things too, because if you do that, it helps the entire grid. Mr. Monkey, OT accounts that blocked muted you should be visible metric. The count, not the account info, obviously. Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah, I could see that. Sealess, I think visibility helps a lot, but you also don't want to give bots too much information because that could get weird too. Sealess, drivers are the most important common profession when all types are aggregated. Losing even 1/3 of those to automation is massive. Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. We should look at chips too. Do you keep your cash position in cash or in cash high interest savings? I've just got, you can, in your investment accounts, a lot of the times they'll have like Robinhood has like a 4.5% cash allotment. So like they'll give you 4.5% if your money's sitting in cash. And so you could just do that. So there's a decent amount of those. The newer ones are better. Man Mahindra says if you don't like a car, Cybertruck, then it's all right. But shitting on it and targeting the brand is truly inhuman. At least Tesla did something unique with trucks and not just copy and paste. Yeah, I agree. I love it. It's my favorite, man. When you hit 15 to 30 million, are you going to buy a Lambo, assuming the Roadster isn't available? Yes, probably. It's either I want a Lamborghini Huracan. I think there's one that I really really like. It is red and black. And let me see if I can find it real quick here. And I think I like it the most. Let me see here. Lamborghini. Let me see. Kill that. 1 second here. I'll pull that up while I'm looking. All right, let's keep going with Tesla. So, but yeah, there's this Lamborghini Huracan. I just absolutely love it. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. Not to get to you. And I'm trying to stay under $350,000 because I think that's just too much money. I think that's too much money. Let's see, certified. I don't care about certified. What is this? New and used. New and used. All right. Let me see here. Drivetrain. All right. I might have to look at that in a bit. Oh, I think I got him. Let me see here. Let me get all-wheel drive because you gotta have all-wheel drive, right? Like you just can't. I want all-wheel drive. If you don't have all-wheel drive, I mean, what the fuck are you doing? And let me see. Do I have like a favorites in here? There's like a favorites. So not that I've been looking at Lamborghini Huracans, but I totally have. So let me just see here. Yeah, let me pull it over. Segue. This is my Lamborghini Huracan show. So I also like McLarens. They're cheaper. It's like the cheap sports car. I dig that. I liked Lotus previously, but it's just not enough. I want something cooler. I do like the F8 Tributo base. I really like the back end of this thing. Not to get too far down the rabbit hole, but I really like that look too. I like these a lot. This is definitely something I could do. And I like the Lamborghini. There's a Lamborghini Huracan that I really like. Where is it? I like the SF90, but they're too expensive. Right here. This is my baby. This is my baby right here, guys. If I'm going to get one, it's this. It's this one right here. Let me see here. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I just love it. I love it so much. Not that I've spent a lot of time on this, but I have. Anyway, back to work. Nice segue. Yeah, but that's kind of the one I'm looking at. Something like that. I just love the style, and I love the carbon fiber hood too. I'm not really so much a Porsche guy. Also, real quickly, back to Tesla. So I said maybe my predictions are too low. To be clear, I don't think this is happening. It got 537 likes because everybody wants to hear the price of Tesla going up. But this person ran this through ChatGPT. I ran it through Grok, and it wasn't nearly as bullish. But ChatGPT has like a $50,000 price target by 2030, Optimus, and 100 million plus homes. I just don't think these numbers are anywhere realistic. I'm still in the I think 3 to 5,000 is a pretty realistic number for for maybe 2027 to 2030, maybe 10, maybe like $3,000 to $10,000 between that time. By 2030, I could see 10,000 as a Tesla number, but I don't think more than that. I think that's crazy. I think it gets a little weird when people are starting to throw out price targets that have it at $90 trillion or more or whatever. It's just fucking nuts. Or $100+ trillion. It's just not right. It's not going to happen. And again, this is great. So this was that same guy that I just followed a second ago. He's talking about Grok 3 being beyond GPT-5 in January. This is roughly Elon's price time frame for this. And this is fascinating because, Peru's got a new post. Let me just get this out there. I don't want to forget it. This is fascinating because it shows, and I think the Grok 3 guys is only the 100,000 H100s. So it's just a baby, right? Like it's just a baby. The Grok 4, where we'll have the 4x training of Grok 3 is in May of 2025. Grok 5 is in August. Grok 6 is in December of 2025. A year from now, Grok is going to be 40x more intelligent than it is today. I just don't think people are paying attention to how quickly things are changing for Tesla and for the world. It's happening really, really quick. Deliveries is the catalyst for Tesla stock to 500 plus next week. I said, if things go really great with the macro, that could be true. Breaking, Mark Cuban says buildings will soon be built by Tesla optimists. I agree, Mark. Since when are we sucking off Elon's tit, though? CERN Basher, he's great. Tesla says FSD licensing at the limit. Let's explore how much Tesla makes from licensing FSD to other automakers. We will create a right goalpost. An estimate of how much Tesla could make with every vehicle sold in the world was sold with purchased FSD. Currently, 2%. Currently, Tesla accounts for about 2% of the 92 million in global auto sales. But if we take into account the net profit that Tesla makes in each vehicle, about 5,000 as other automakers, then they make up 5%. So they 2% of vehicles sold, 5% of profits. Isn't that fascinating? Now, let's say that every vehicle that Tesla sells also purchases FSD. So let's say in the future FSD takes off. Then they have 10% of auto profits for the world. But that's if the price doesn't go up. If everybody's buying it, the price is going up. So you could get to 20%, I think, pretty easily. He says, finally, let's now assume that every vehicle sold in the world is sold with purchase FSD, and we will assume that Tesla keeps 60% of the profit and the remaining 40% goes to other automakers. In this case, Tesla's profit would jump to 290 billion or 29x increase, and it would account for about 45% of total auto industry sales. I actually think this is probably what ends up happening. And we can go into this more in detail later, but I actually think this is what ends up happening. So by 2030, what is he saying here? 40% to other. We'll assume that Tesla keeps profits at 60% of the profit, and the remaining goes that every vehicle sold in the world is sold with purchased FSD. I think that's going to happen. I think that by 2030, this will happen. I don't know if the numbers are going to be perfectly coinciding, but 29x increase in profits, hell, even if it's a 20x between now and 2030, not even including the robot, or I should say this is a robot, it's a driving robot, but not including Optimus. Yeah, that doesn't seem crazy. I still got to do this cross-border cap video. I'm sorry. I've got my nieces here, and I've just been hanging with family, enjoying life. I had to. I needed a break. You need a break. When you do this shit all the time, you just need a break every once in a while. All right, so that's that. Let's look at altcoins real quick. A couple things I wanted to point out. So Solana actually looking good here. It looks like maybe it could be in an ascending triangle. And that we could be seeing a breakout. Again, though, could it go down to here before it does that? One last touch point and then breaking out? Yes, it could. Ooh, Jeremy Siegel's talking. I want to listen to him. Let's jump over here real quick. We got to finish up. Oh, we forgot Tom Lee. We got to finish up with Tom Lee, and then we're going to jump to Jeremy Siegel.
Markets.
Tom, do you have any idea why the futures are down 400 now? I mean, we haven't really laid any reasoning on.
Tom is such a tough guy. He gets shit on sometimes when you're in the spotlight, like you get your wins on days, and then you have days where they suck. And unlike me, Kevin, I'm gonna say Tom's a great guy, and he's brilliant, and I admire him immensely, and I love his service, and he'll be right again in the future.
On it, we were saying weakness globally, but you know anything more than we do?
I don't. I think that it is not a liquid environment because we're in the final 2 days of the year, and markets didn't do well last week. So I think markets are now sort of pricing in the idea that we could finish December weakly, but strangely, if the last week of December is weak, I actually think it bodes well for a rebound in the first week of January.
I completely disagree. Not a flattering look. Sorry, Tom. I completely disagree because I don't. You still have people that want to get out. Now, maybe those people wait. Maybe those people wait for a bounce and then they get out. But I actually think some people are going to scream for the door. If you bought Tesla at 150 and it's at 420 today, or let's even say 400, and you need cash at the beginning of the year, I think you're just going to sell. I think you're going to sell some. You're going to take some off the table. I would at least assume the dump continues into the very, very, very beginning of January and then maybe bounces the first week.
You think the Fed's going to be the most important component of the market next year?
Yeah, that's because Kevin's a dipshit. I just really struggle to like that guy anymore. He's gotten so weird. He's wearing suits. He's got like a model of his jet hanging up. He's like trying to be the big executive guy now. He's just weird. I can't. If he turns back into the guy who plays video games with his friends on some of his live streams while he talks about stuff again, then maybe I'll be interested in him. But until that happens, he just doesn't seem like himself anymore. He's trying to be, I don't know, he needs to chill out.
Next year, you think new policies potentially coming from the administration? There's a lot of things that people worry about. What, if anything, do you worry about?
If we look at where there's potential for market surprise next year, I think it comes from the administration. Because there's really two efforts underway. One is what could happen with tariffs and immigration and deportations, which I think markets are, I think, pricing too much certainty around that. I think that there is potentially upside surprise if tariffs don't end up being as drastic as many fear.
Yeah,
and the second is really the implications of Doge and to the extent that committee finds cost savings or embarrasses companies. That's a source of, I think, both positive and negative surprise. So I think there's going to be more surprise coming from the administration than from the Fed.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Don,
I agree.
I guess it's time for us. No, we're going to get one more break. Not anything on Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it just does look. Andrew thinks it's risk on, risk off. I saw a lot of that play on Twitter. It's other things as well, but it does seem to be a risk on, risk off, sort of a measure of sentiment, doesn't it? The way it trades.
Yeah, I think it's historically been more of a risk-on asset, meaning the best years for Bitcoin have occurred when the S&P's done well. So I think directionally they're very similar, but 2024 has proven to be a year where Bitcoin adoption has more tailwinds behind it.
Totally.
I think it is a pretty big deal that the U.S. government is potentially embracing Bitcoin, even making
if there's a day one strategic reserve.
I think at 96,000 Bitcoin is still a pretty good opportunity.
Okay, good. All right, Tom, thanks. We'll see you next.
I will say this, in 3 weeks, I'm way more bullish than I am right now. Way more bullish. Let me go back here. I want to see what Jeremy Siegel has to say. I really like him. He's such a good dude. And then it looks like we have market open. I'm not sure why people are pledging over there, but that's cool. Yeah, I like Siegel. I like to hear his take. He's an old dude, but he's usually very interesting. And then after that, we'll probably get to the bell. Kevin needs a few good slaps. He's the most slimy used. I know he's turned into a used car salesman, and maybe he always was, because again, he's a realtor. So I mean, not to shit on anybody. I've got friends that watch this that are realtors, but just like some people have no scruples in their business. Like some salespeople are great, some aren't. Yeah, I agree, Rumi. I totally agree. He's just not one of the better ones, in my opinion. All right, come on, guys, let's go. Let's go.
Wharton School professor Jeremy Siegel here with us to get his take on stocks as we head into a new year. Good to see you, Professor.
Good to see you, Mike.
We are. It's David, actually. We're coming off
David, yes.
2 great years for the broader markets. Can we make it a third in 2025?
We could, but I think if you look at history, I think the only other time that we've had 220 pluses go into the third year was 1999, and whoa, then we got way too overpriced, and we got to 2000. So I really think we're going to take a pause this next year. One thing is true about the markets, as an old saying, is that whenever everybody expects something to happen to the market in the future, it's not going to happen. Everyone expected that, we're going to have the Santa Claus rally. Everyone said, oh yeah, it always rises between Christmas and New Year's. And I warned a few weeks ago, I said, yeah, when everyone says that, they buy up before then, and then when it comes, there's disappointment. And, I think maybe we're seeing a little bit of that right now.
Yeah, right now, okay, but does that apply to 2025? Is there an expectation, perhaps, that we're going to have another strong year and therefore going to be disappointed?
I think there might be some disappointment. As time has gone on, I think the probability of a correction next year, which is defined as a 10% drop in the S&P is getting higher. I'm not saying it's a sure thing. Nothing is a sure thing in the market. But the major forces to propel things upward, I think, have already been built in. We still have, we talk about 22 times earnings on 16, 17% gains of earnings, which is, also far higher than historical. So I see a little bit more risk on the downside, and
All right, Siegel, downside risk, obviously a little bearish heading into this new year. I agree that that is the risk. The risk is further downside, and I think it culminates in the beginning of the first quarter.
I'm a bull on the market. I'm long term. I'm not saying sell, but I see more risks. Not as.
And doesn't it sound great, guys? Just to let's get the risks out of the way right at the beginning of the year. Let's get them away right at the beginning of the year.
As optimistic as Tom Lee was right at the end of Squawk Box, and I admire him dramatically, but I think that I think we have challenges next year because of all the optimism that has been built in this year.
Fair.
What does that mean, Professor Siegel, for the long-standing reign of big tech? One would say those have been some key forces over the last few years that have pushed the broader S&P 500 upward.
Yeah, and we do still have a bifurcated market in the sense that the Mag 7 being 30%, Mag 7 being 30 to 35 times earnings. The rest of the market 18
Probably
to
not.
20, which is much more reasonable. I think 2025 could be that switch around. Now, of course, many of us thought that would happen 2024, and it didn't. The narrative of AI is still very, very strong. The spending is there. It's going to bring about all these gains. Now, the amount of actual gains it's bringing about is modest. It isn't, it hasn't been implemented completely at so many firms. The hope is there, and I think ultimately it will prove to be very beneficial, but there is room for disappointment at the speed of implementation and how much that actually will affect profits. Now, will it happen in 2025 or not? Listen, history tells us that narratives go on much longer. They need to be punched down with many failures before they're finally dead.
All right, so we got Siegel's take. We're probably going to switch to live market here.
At this particular point, that
long, you kind of malaise and base that was
bell
built.
ringing in about 1 minute.
Pull back off of that in the context of a pretty rough open. Maybe it's you keep it in perspective.
Yes. Yeah, it was the
I'm gonna be buying
deadliest year
into this,
for
guys.
commercial air travel since 2018, with 318 tragic deaths related to commercial air travel.
Well,
Two
and a
other
number of
close
them,
calls
a number
over
of
the
them
Oh my
at
God,
the very
she's
end of
hot.
the year, of
Are
course.
we talking about her?
As well, I think the Azerbaijani airplane
Exactly,
that
yeah.
Where did that come from,
appears to
River?
have been shot down, perhaps by Russia. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I don't know what the implications of
Oh,
that are,
you
but
can't
last
really
year there were
tell,
0
Kirby, but we
fatalities.
can
This
look
year, 318.
So, Kirby, I have a general rule, okay? We'll talk about it right after the bell.
Of course, investors still remember the max with Boeing, but again, as Mike said, 2024 year of seemingly endless challenges for the company, but ending perhaps on a more positive note as it is back to actually manufacturing, resolving that strike, of course, of the workers that took them
leather
off the
jacket.
assembly line for quite some period of time. Still a large debt load there at Boeing, not to forget, of course. Kind of two iconic companies we continue to keep an eye on.
All right.
Boeing and Intel. We're also keeping an eye, of course, on the
All right, so we're going to mute on that. Resident Evil vibes. Oh my God, you're kind of right there. Yeah. Totally. I haven't played that game in a while. I know they redid it. All right, so I haven't played games in a while. Actually, I've been playing Path of Exile too. I haven't played games in like really years, a very, very long time, but I've been loving that one. VIX up. Let's see if this refreshes. I think that's from last. See how much we're down today. It's probably going to be a decent amount, guys. Neo down 4.5%. Ugh. Palantir down almost 4%. I had my first bloody nose in a while in the shower today. I guess that means something. Does that mean the markets are going to be red? U.S. oil's up to 71 now. That sucks. Bond TLT's actually going up a little bit. Ooh, that's kind of nice though. Yeah, Adam. I don't have TLT, but it's nice to see that it's reacting the way that you would hope it would, even if just for a minute. Now, real quickly here, I do want to do a little bit of buying this morning while I'm thinking about it. Let me see here. Yeah, we got. I got to just do. You guys got to give me a sec here. I just got to do a little bit. So I was going to say, Mr. AI, where were we at here? Where were you at? Kirby AI. Hey, so you were asking about options, man. So I would, here, let me switch over to here. I'll bring the heat map up so we can start to see what's going on with the day. So options, I would look at my options 101 video. Look up micro to macro on YouTube, options 101. You'll find the video. It does a good idea. It does a good job of kind of explaining the concept of extrinsic and intrinsic. There's no real easy way to see the difference. I mean, you kind of can, right? There's these delta, gamma, theta, pi stuff. There's all these things that you can look at in regard to metrics. I keep it simple. I look at the option profit calculator, and I'm looking for a 3 to 10x potential return on what I believe are very achievable targets, because I want that asymmetric bet. It reduces my risk of downside. So I like that kind of stuff. MicroStrategy down almost 5% on the day. I'm going to buy just a little bit. Let me see here. How much are we buying today? It's 50 contracts. That's not too much, right? What is 50? What is 50 contracts in MicroStrategy? But yeah, check out that video. It will give you, all right, so that's 15K. So about 15K in MicroStrategy-ish. And then I'm going to buy some Palantir. Fuck yeah, I am. I'm just going to buy a little nibble of some Palantir just for the fuck of it. I'll probably buy some SoFi. I'm just going to get all the things. I'm excited. This is fun. Let's buy just a ridiculously small quantity. 10 shares. That's too cheap. Let's go 20 shares. We're going to go balls deep. 20 shares of Palantir. I now am a proud owner of $1,500 of Palantir, guys. Now people can be like, look at Jesse. He bought at the top for Palantir. But hey, whatever makes them happy. All right. NVIDIA's down 2%. AMD's down 2%. I need to look at some of those levels. I'm going to buy a little bit of SoFi. Hood. What's Hood down? 2%. Clean Spark. I'm going to buy just a wee bit of Clean Spark here. Just the stock. I'm not buying any more options or anything. I'm fucking done. $10 of Palantir. Hey, man, I own $1,500 in Palantir. I'm a major shareholder. I'm expecting a call from Alex Karp here in a second. All right, so let me see. Get maybe 1,000 shares of Clean Spark. Yeah, 1,000 shares of Clean Spark. It's about 10K in Clean Spark. What else we got here? SMCI is getting butchered. SoFi. Did I buy any SoFi? Probably get a little bit of SoFi. All right. I don't know, maybe buying just a little bit more. Jesse, you bought more MSTR calls? No, I'm not buying any. I'm not buying any calls of anything. I'm just not in the mood. Not in the mood, guys. I am going to buy just a wee bit of SoFi. I'm just doing some nibbling. All right, spot a little SoFi. I'm just getting a little bit of my favorite things. Kind of like Hood, too. Probably going to buy just a little bit of Hood. Again, guys, I'm not looking to get too crazy. I'm not going balls deep here on investments. I'm not buying a lot of calls. I already own calls. I've gotten less than 900 calls now, guys. I just don't give a shit about it anymore. I don't care. Yeah, I'm just grazing. I'm like a fucking animal in a pasture. All right, I bought like almost 4,000 in Hood. And I'm in no rush. I'm in a MicroStrategy down 5.5%. Oh, I might nibble a little bit more on that. I'm going to pasture graze on a little more MSTR. I'm going to get another 50. Another pity. Another pity. Again, I've got a contract in. I think I still have it. That's 15,000. Yeah, what the hell? All right. So I've spent about 45 maybe this morning. That's probably enough. I'm going to chill for a little bit. I like the fact that Tesla's bouncing a little bit. Might buy a little bit of Tesla. Just a few shares. Just a wee little bit of shares. Let's see, what is 50 shares? That's probably too much. 21,000. I don't want to spend that much. Let's do like 20 shares of Tesla. All right, there you go. So I've spent at least 50K, I think, on investments. I'm just going to do a quick post on that, and then we'll get back to it, and we'll start looking at charts. Let me just get this post out there so people know what I'm doing. BC's trying to go sub 92. Yeah. Yep, it could. It could. We'll see. It doesn't have to happen today. BTC about to go to 91. Yeah, it's interesting. BTC is drawing down, but some of the other things are starting to pop a little bit. People want to be optimistic about markets. I have about, I bought maybe like 50, 60K worth today. I think that's all I'm going to buy unless we get unless we get a significant drop. If we get a significant drop, I'm going to buy more. I'm going to buy more. But let me see here. Oh, it's being weird. Do I not have Snagit installed? Let me just get my Snagit up and running. Are you buying any ARKG? Probably not. I've got time on ARKG. ARKG is like the everybody's going risk on bet. So I'll buy more ARKG if I need to, but I'm okay with waiting on ARKG. I'm okay with waiting. Again, I'm not looking to apply more leverage. It's not really what I'm looking to do. My portfolio is like 50% linked to BTC. Yeah, cool. That's probably not bad right now. Victor Hernandez, I have 25,000 to pour in, but heck, Tesla wants to come back like the Undertaker. Micron 3.6. Let's look at Micron. I said I would. Just give me a sec. I just need to take my trades here and publish them. I probably should buy some chips. I just don't know what to buy. All right. Real quickly here. Let me just put this out there. All right. I got to tease people. I got to tease people about this because there's so many people in the Palantir community that want to shit on me because of this post. So very excited to give them the opportunity. ARGT. Why the fuck am I not thinking about ARGT, bro? That's a good call. Let me just get this post out there. Sorry, I gotta get the Palantir people going. It makes me happy to get them like enraged or excited. I know I'm gonna get a bunch of shit talking on this one. But that is a part of the game. That is what we do. That's what happens, yo. All right. And then there's going to be a bunch of people that don't watch this video, and then they're going to be like, dude, what the fuck? You're buying Palantir now? All right, let me just get a trade. You're right. I got to buy some ARGT. That's like a must. I don't own enough ARGT. Let's go 49 shares maybe. What is that? 4,000. Yeah, what the heck? We'll buy some. Got to add some ARGT. I really need to increase that position. I'm just in no rush. I'm in no rush right now, guys. The world is a beautiful place. I'm just here riding along. I've only got like 900,000 in calls now. What's the reason for the Palantir? I said I'd buy it on the way down. And I got a feeling it's going to be going down for a while. And it's $1,500, which is nothing to me. That's why. So we've started my trip, I believe, headed down this way. And I just buy into that. Again, guys, this is just the way my mind works. I like sales. I buy sales. I buy dips. I buy dips in the things I want to own. I did just buy a little bit of ARGT. It was only like $4,000. I'll post that in a little bit too. But we need to get to charts. So what a perfect top on Palantir. Now, could it go higher? Fuck, whatever. Maybe. I don't know anymore. Nothing makes sense. Could this thing double? Could it double? Could we just go up to 140, 50 over here, like this zone? And it's worth almost $400 billion? Maybe. But I don't know. Am I buying Micron? You guys are all about Micron today. Maybe. I mean, I'm probably going to buy a few chips, but they'd have to go lower. Right now, things look like they're bouncing, so probably not any more purchases today. Let's look at Micron. Oof, yeah, this thing did get hit, didn't it? Down almost 50%. Maybe I'll get a little Micron. I wonder. Let's kill this. I want to look at a trend-based extension on Micron. They did have some bad news recently, right? Is this not right? Oh, no, that's not right. I want a fib retracement, my bad. So this one actually fell through. It fell through the .618. It wants to turn that into support, though. I'll probably get a little Micron. I'll get a few shares. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. I'm going to buy us stuff today, but nothing too crazy. What is 49 shares of Micron? $4,000? Yeah, we'll buy some. All right. Yes, I bought some Micron. Just a little bit. Because it's cheap. Yeah, I don't know. TLT's up today, though. I love that. I love seeing TLT get a bounce. Palantir 150, like that price target. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but again, almost $400 billion. I don't know. That seems rich. And I like the company. I just don't know if like what would it be? 370, 380, 380 billion? Seems a little high. You're still bull on miners. CleanSpark going from 9 to 18 by June. Oh, no, I think it'll go higher than that. When you think of SMCI, I don't know. That's the riskiest of all the chip companies, right? I mean, it's been de-risked a little bit. But I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush to jump on risk. So like ARCG, greater risk. SMCI, greater risk. Now, this one, though. Oh, yeah, we did talk about this, though, didn't we? I don't like it. The right shoulder's getting a little too deep for this to be an inverse head and shoulders. Kind of looks like my testicles right now, though. Sorry, it's too much information, but yeah, I don't know. This seems like, if anything, it could break down further. So I'm not super excited about SMCI, even at this level right now, just based on the technical. 75%. Somebody got the joke. All right. Springfield, if you already invested a lot in a single stock and it dips heavily, are you continuing to buy the dip? Yeah, it depends on what it is, man. If I really, really believe in a stock, I buy the dip. You buy the dip, right? Intel, I've hated the management forever, and I'm not really excited about it. We can pull it up. If you guys want charts pulled up right now, guys, start throwing them out. I'll try and keep up. Maybe if we could do it to where we kind of time what we're talking about, and then somebody throws out a new one every once in a while, that'd probably be easier. Now, Intel has seen a bunch of wicks down here, and we are at levels that we saw in 1997. What a fucking horrible company. $85 billion valuation. Again, massive government contracts for these guys, but they're just outside of their GPUs. They got a decent GPU, but otherwise not doing super great as a company. This does appear like it's trying to find support. I mean, look at the wick here. Look at the massive wick here. Then they shit again. Then we got another wick. And if I look at the daily, there is a huge gap. It looks like part of it was filled. There is a huge gap. Well, still a pretty big gap up here, going all the way up to like 29. So you can get a quick bounce off of this thing. I mean, is anything quick with Intel anymore? I don't know. Albert says, Jesse, you mentioned earlier during the stream that you think that CleanSpark can pop off back to last year's high levels. Why do you think, no, this year's high levels in the 27 range? Any catalyst? Yeah. Bitcoin's price being significantly higher than it was the last quarter that they reported. Their FASB accounting rules, they're breaking all this. Oh, hey, we did just get data. We did get data, guys. Let's take a look here. Let me refresh. But yeah, so the price being a lot higher, it's going to make all their books look better. Chicago PMI, 36.9. Woof. Much lower than expected. Forecast of 43, consensus of 42.5. That could send the market lower. So look here. That's not great. Some of the lowest levels in the history of it. Lower than November of 2022. It was lower in May, and so this part in here. Outside of that, though, outside of May and outside of the pandemic, the Chicago PMI has not been worse, going all the way back to 2015. Let's go back even further. So this is the lowest level. There's only two other times going all the way back to the great financial crisis that it was this low. Two other times besides today. That's not a great number at all. Let's listen to what our boy Rick Santelli has to say about it. See if there's any revisions or anything he's covering.
We got Chicago PMI out just moments ago. Rick Santelli has that for us. Rick.
David, big miss on December Chicago PMI. We know manufacturing hasn't looked good in a while. It's been a long while. 36.9 is our December read. We're expecting a number around 43. That now makes 27 months. If you look at the last 27 months, we've had only one reading above 50, and that was in November of last year. 27 months, one reading above 50. So, of course, this is a big
contraction,
miss.
Guys.
We can continue,
lots of contraction.
most likely, not only to look at the slowdown in manufacturing, but many are assessing exactly what's going on in the service sector. Interest rates are down. 4.55 and a 10 is down 8. 4.25 and a 2-year is also down 8. We still see 29 plus on 2s to 10s, which is in the neighborhood of the steepest that curve has been since early June of 2022.
The 10 years down.
Squawk on the Street will return after a short break.
All right, cool. So the 10 years down today, the 2 years down today. So we're seeing those roll over. The dollar is gaining strength today, but that's not bad. So somebody wanted to look at Hood. Let's look at Hood. Sorry, I'm going to try and cover the big ones first, guys, over more obscure names, and then we can get into the more obscure stuff. So if you have obscure stuff, I'd probably save it. So Hood down 3.31%. Well, it's off its highs from 1,246 days ago. It's still down from its high. It's down 55%. So there's still some value to be had in here. But it has went really far. I think this looks super bouncy though. Like, look at this. This looks super bouncy. Look at these wick ups. So this is a good one to buy on a dip, I think. And I will. I'm just getting stock on it though. Let's look at Enphase. Enphase I worry about. Again, I just worry about them from, I don't know. I don't know what Trump's going to do with kind of, I'm assuming with energy, he probably won't be as helpful to companies like Enphase. And Enphase, again, like the new Powerwalls don't even need Enphase inverters. So I just don't know if there's, I don't know. I don't know when Enphase does better. It does have a falling broadening wedge, right? So there is that going for it. But I don't know if this company, and again, it's actually got bullish divergence here. Let me fix this real quick. Bullish divergence on the RSI. But again, the fundamentals of the company are what matter. That's what matters, the fundamentals. It's always the fundamentals. So these technicals can look great and they can mean jack shit because the company sucks. And I don't know if that's true. I just know that I don't know if there's as much need for Enphase, and I don't know if I can speak to it at a fundamental level. But we do have bullish divergence at least on the RSI that started on the weekly time frame that started back in October of 2023. So there is some stuff here that looks good. Oh, I don't know what that is. I'm trying to get rid of some of the garbage on the chart here. So, and then it looks like maybe the MACD wants to wrap up. So it looks like this thing could be at the bottom. I don't know if it is. Fear and greed's at 29. Yeah, and so the fear and greed, again, guys, we pointed this out a while ago. This is definitely a buy zone when you look at fear and greed. And I had a chart about this. But at least going back from over here, if you look at the oversold conditions, this was a buy down here. This was a buy. No, get off my screen. This is a buy right here. This is a buy here. This is a buy here. But then if you look at it, there was another drop. This is a buy here. This is a buy here. And this is a buy here. So extreme greed to fear over the last, how long has it been? 2.5 years has been buy. Buy, 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 buy. Could we get a moment where it isn't buy just for a little bit? Yeah, maybe. Constantino, Intel just fired the CEO and they're getting sued for bad management. I know, right? So how can you love the fundamentals of that? Agreed. I just paid for Robinhood Gold. I've been paying for that for a while. The lion's share, Jesse, can we look at MVST? Yeah, we can look at a few of these. I want to get through some of the majors first, though, guys. Some of the ones I commonly follow, and then we'll get into some of the rest of it. So let's start at the top here. So today, let's look at the indices. So we've got, and actually real quickly here, how's the crypto market doing? Let's just go to day. Oh yeah. Altcoins are just getting wiped out, guys. Just wiped out today. So it's feeling very risk off in regard to that. Let's look at the S&P. The S&P is down 1.4%. That's pretty risk off. The NASDAQ today, let's see how it's doing. And I do agree that we're in a stock picker's market. The NASDAQ's down 1.55, so very similar. The Russell, let's see how the small caps are doing it. I'm imagining outsized losses, just a little bit more. So they're all down kind of evenly. Ooh, Russell, guys, looks like it's finding a buy zone, honestly. It looks like this might try and turn into support. Bitcoin's still around 92, looking like it could drop more. Let's keep rolling along here, though. Let's look at the dollar. The dollar's strong today. If we look over here, and let me just make sure my screen looks right, too. Yeah, that's all right. Dollar looks strong. It was fading off earlier in the day, but now it's picking up steam. Let's look at gold. And that's going to be rough on companies like Tesla and many more. Gold is falling today. So we got a lot of things falling today. That's fascinating. But oil is up. Thank you to the 1,000+ people that are here. If you could hit like, that'd be great. Oil is up 1.46%. It looks like it's in that breakout zone that I was talking about. I might as well just take this off because this doesn't appear to be happening. So again, it looks like this falling, tightening wedge is what's playing out, and it looks like we're getting ready to break above it. So we could maybe have this thing go back up to oil up to 75. Worst case, maybe even higher, up just a hair under 80, like up towards here, before crashing down one more time. And again, I do think it's going to crash down, but at least right now it's coming up. Lego at 87. How do you check money flow, capital flow, Jesse? I usually throw up treasury yield charts, gold, silver. Capital flow is a little bit harder to monitor. You can look at M2 money supply, but capital flow is a little bit harder. So you can look at, I would say, things like the CoinJoin thing that I was talking about earlier, where you see a massive explosion in ways to obfuscate and kind of hide what you're buying is going to be part of it. And then there are a few good sites, and again, most of them are sponsored by Falun Gong for China, but the only capital flows I'd really be worried about right now are coming out of China. Those are the ones I'd be worried about. That's pretty much it. And so, and there's some good sites like China Observer and China Insights and a few others. But again, people shit on them because they're sponsored by Falun Gong, which obviously have a bias against the CCP because they were oppressive towards them. They imprisoned them. They murdered them. They were all kinds of brutal to them. So there's that. But let's keep going, though. Let's keep going. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Move. And we can talk about that maybe more in the future. I'll see if I can come up with something where I have like some metrics and data to show you in regard to outflows. Move index fallen today. Not too crazy. The 2-year, again, the 2-year and the 10-year are falling. We'll look at the inversion too. But I'm liking what we're seeing there. I'm liking this rolling over. We need to see more of it. This will be good for us. So digging that. Let's look at the 10-year. There's a fight, 91 versus 92. Oh, for Bitcoin. Yeah. So again, we'll see if we can find support. There's that line I drew before. We were above it. Oh, you know what? This actually is starting to look like a channel. Is it? No, now it's looking like if it stops here and rejects, it looks like a broadening wedge, but I shouldn't draw this. This is unfair. It's too soon. Let's just draw it like this and see if it can find support. That's a better representation of what it might do, because the dollar could, or the 10-year could go up more. But I like what it's doing. I like the fact that it's falling. We'll see if it turns into support or if it turns back into resistance. Again, hopefully it turns into resistance. We want to see the 10-year go down, guys. That's like the benchmark for real estate. MicroStrategy down over 6%, 6.2% right now, guys. 6.2%. I might just nibble on a couple of MicroStrategy shares. That's a big drop. The uninversion, though, it looks like, again, it uninverted a while ago, but it looks like it's coming back down just a little bit. That's okay. Let's look at Tesla. Let's look at all the big dogs. Kirby AI, what's your thoughts on different similarities on how Howell view on liquidity versus Raoul Powell's view that liquidity will rise as U.S. rolls over short-term debts into the new year? So there's $8 trillion worth of debt that needs to be refinanced this next year, most of it with the latter part of the year. That is a huge number. I like what Michael Howell says about defense bonds for forcing that and using it as a forcing function to get like maybe places like Japan and places like Europe and other bond people to help fund our defense and refinance our debts and do so in order to be able to avoid tariffs. We're under 92 now, guys. We're getting ready to break down on Bitcoin. Probably going to jump over to that for a second. So Tesla down 3% on the day. This looks very double toppy over here. It's very double toppy. Could be some short term, again, pain and frustration there. Glad I removed my leverage again last week on even Tesla. Very smart decision. Palantir only down 3% today, not getting hit too hard. 6.5% on MSTR. I'm going to buy just a little bit more of that. Just a wee bit. Just such a nice drop. Probably going to keep it simple, though, like 25 shares, nothing too crazy. That's $7,700. All right, 20 shares. I'm going to keep it small. I don't want to buy. I'm trying to be conservative, guys. I don't want to get more than 100K today. I'd like to still have almost $900,000 sitting on the sidelines. But anybody who took cash along with me, are you guys feeling better about today? I'm assuming you are. Kamoa, this sounds like Invest Answers predictions. Which ones? Krampus rally. Yeah, Krampus is rallying today, guys. Legola 87. I'm only familiar with Grab's services, not their fundamentals. I know that they use it very, very rarely. Not even their e-wallet. Their food delivery is meh. Their ride-hailing, their main thing sucks. Yeah, that doesn't sound like great. How can I access Discord? You can do it through wap.com/micro to macro. I just put it in chat there. Hopefully that translates into, I don't know if that'll translate. Yeah, anyway, that's the URL. That should get you there. If I click on it, let me just make sure it comes up. That's how you get to Discord. And again, all my charts, my daily trades, highlights from the streams. Oh, and I should see if Matthew actually did any stream highlights recently. Jesse's portfolio discussion. So 1219 was last. Or no, wait. We got more. 1223 streamlights above. So again, he's taking holidays off too, but I have that good one with TLT. I need to get that one out there. I feel MSTR may have filled the gap around 280 and I'll buy more. Yeah, I think it fills the gap in the 280s. I agree. And I'm a buyer there too. MicroStrategy, guys, down 7% today. Oh, I love it. I mean, I've got 650,000 in it, actually probably a little bit more, so I don't love that, but I'll buy a dip. Guys. Oh, I don't want to buy 2,130 shares of it, though. But I'll buy a dip. Drop, motherfucker, drop. All right, so I bought more. Stuff. All right, let's keep going back here. So I should probably append onto this with additional buys, but I'll wait just a little bit. ARGT down 2%. Oh, you guys are getting me so hungry for all the goodies. I might buy a little ARGT just because you always need a little more Argentina. Get another 4K on that one. You sound like Bob Ross when you make purchases. And another little tree. Some fluffy clouds. I fucking love that. I love that, Alfredo. I love that, dude. That is the hugest of compliments. Comparing me to Bob Ross. I fucking love that, bro. I love that. You just made my day. All right, let's see here. So let me just look at everything else. NVIDIA actually getting a little bounce today. Let's look at the heat map. It's a little painful. Let's just refresh here again. Is that the actual map right now? This thing's always a little delayed. You can't get it much better. But yeah, look at that NVIDIA. And being the strength that the markets needed today. In CNBC stock, is that what this is? Only NVIDIA and CNBC are up today, guys. Pretty crazy stuff. BTC reversing. Yeah, maybe. We could see a big drop, guys. We could see a real big drop. Drop it like it's hot. I think, I don't know, might buy a little more Clean Spark. Oh, I'm getting a little too kid in the candy store. I need to slow the fuck down. How much do I have? 900,000. That's a lot. All right. It looks like those the Clean Spark options are getting butchered again today, guys. They're down a lot. I want to buy more, but I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to let them just get really drained, and then maybe I'll buy more options than that. Palantir is 50% of my portfolio. Is it stupid to sell 20% to buy MSTR? I don't think that's stupid at all. I'm not a financial advisor in any way. Nothing I say is financial advice, Luke. But if you've made, that stock was up 1,300% in a period of 2 years. To sell some to buy MSTR. What is MSTR down right now, guys? Let's just look here real quick. I think that's a brilliant idea. But that's just me. And again, not a financial advisor. I just like buying on the red days. Let's see, what is MicroStrategy down right now? And again, if you own MSTU or MSTX, that's probably painful. And I don't even want to know what you're down, but down 44% from the high of where it was just in a month ago. It's down 43 to 44% in a month, dude. At least the USD in Japan is coming down too. Is it? Let me see here. The JPY. It's actually, yeah, it is down. It is down 0.56% today, so that's good. The dollar's coming down a little bit with Japan. We like that, right? We want them to buy our bonds. Buy our bonds, Japan. You buy our bonds, and we'll keep your Japanese yen carry trade from unwinding. It's a win-win. I didn't know there was so much retail in the market. I can't imagine the institutions are getting scared. The institutions deleveraged last week, I think, and now it's the retail that's capitulating. And they're capitulating pretty hard. Might buy just a little bit of Mara today. Let's see. 99. 99? What does Mara sell for? $17. I mean, 99 isn't even worth doing. Let's do 199. I feel like I am painting clouds and trees right now. I'm not gonna lie, Alfredo. I'm not gonna lie. It does feel like a very Bob Ross kind of day. It does feel very Bob Rossian. And the best part is I have so much money left. I love that. I love it. All right, I'm going to buy 10 more shares of Tesla. You talked me into it. All right, there we go. Pretty trees everywhere. Everywhere I see pretty trees. All right. Yeah, dude, Bitcoin looks like it's breaking down, guys. Let's just look over here. Bitcoin's getting ready to drop. So to all those people that said I was wrong and I was stupid, who's stupid now, bitches? All right. Dude, I love Bob Ross. He's the man. So again, how painful is it going to be for people? I mean, I'll love it. I'll eat up those losses like they're candy. But how painful is it going to be if for people to see a 10% drop in Bitcoin if it happens today? Not that it has to. Is this drop because of the money supply you spoke about? I think so. We should wait until the middle, late January to buy. Now, I buy on the way down, but I do it in small little increments, and then I pick up the pace. So right now, today, I've gotten pretty heavy in my buying. I want to say I've used up like 12, 13% of my cash. What has a higher return at these levels, SOL or MSTR? I don't know. Could be either. Why not both? Chris John, is this drop? Oh, yeah, that was you. Yeah, I don't know. I like to buy into pain and suffering. These are the days where I thrive. But I'm also happy that MicroStrategy is down over 7% on the day. I can't say everybody feels that way. I do wish I would have sold out of CleanSpark instead of buying my leaps last week. I wish I would have sold them because they're down like 14% today. So I wish I would have sold them. That's one of the big parts of my loss. 38,000 of my losses today are just from CleanSpark. 10,000 are from ARKG. Well, here, guys, I'll just show you my losses. Here, let me pull them over. So I wish I would have sold out of the CleanSpark options. I wish I would have just got out and stuck with my gut on getting out of leverage. PayPal, I'm still okay with. I'm okay with PayPal. PayPal's still doing all right. I feel like PayPal's going to do well. I'm not buying any more in leverage at all right now, guys. Glad I got out of my 300,000 or whatever in Tesla calls, 350,000 last week. Adam, are you talking about CleanSpark? Whoa, you guys are down 70%. Ouch. Sorry, man. Did you have shorter dated ones or something? That is fucking a lot. I'm down like 12.4. Or I'm sorry, no, total 47. So I'm down too. I'm down pretty hard. But 68 and 70 are like a whole nother level of pain. So I'm sorry to hear it, guys. Hymns also down pretty nicely. I think a lot of things are getting hit. But yeah, so the market's getting pretty butchered. My biggest losses are the CleanSpark ones today. MicroStrategy, because it's kind of, I can't imagine what the MSTU and MSTX look like. And then PayPal is down today. And then Tesla, but Tesla's not leaps. It's just a large position. Can CleanSpark go back to 30 by next year? I think it can go to 40 by this year. Oh, we're breaking that support line, guys, on Bitcoin. Let's go back here. We're breaking the support line, guys. Let's just zoom in. This is where shit gets real, okay? This is where the pain starts. This is where Max Pain comes in. Lots of pain. Really wishing I would have sold my clean spark calls. But whatever. Hindsight's always 2020. All right, so I'm going to keep these alerts up. Today might be a longer stream, guys. Might be a longer stream because I need to talk people off a ledge. What's next support for Bitcoin? I mean, really, 90K. 90K is next support for Bitcoin. I'm going to move my chart back over here. Oh, the pain, the pain. Does anybody remember Fantasy Island? Or am I the only old fuck here? Have a blessed day. Thank you. You too. July 2025. Oh, wow. You're better. You must have bought more earlier than... if you're down that much, because I'm not down that much. I'm only down 47%. So you must have been an aggressive buyer. Bro, love your stream. I left even the job to hear you. Money come, money goes. Yeah, thanks, man. Oh, we're breaking. We're breaking, guys. We're breaking. I told you, motherfuckers. I told you there was risk, man. People didn't want to listen. Real quickly here. So... if you guys get a chance, can you like this stream and comment? I'm just going to push this to the top. I want people to know. Yeah, it might be a marathon today with everything that's going on. I'm supposed to be talking to one of my subs about my health and trying to be healthier. That is something I'm working on for the new year. Just talking about nutrition and stuff. So we'll probably try and do that later. I need to see what he said as far as timing. But yeah, let's go back. Let's look at the pain train here. Honestly, only thing that worries me is that BTC goes down a lot before the 31st of December. Would love for it to hold 90K for miners and MSTR earnings. Oh yeah, no, I get that. I think earnings will look good. I think Q2 is a good month too for it to just look awesome. But I hear you. It is what it is. It is what it is. And nobody gives a shit about MicroStrategy's earnings. Plus, FASB accounting rules don't kick in for MicroStrategy until the end of Q1. They kicked in December 15th, but really the first quarter of reporting for FASB accounting rules, I believe, if I understand it correctly, will be Q1. Yeah, I think. I don't know. We'll see. Can you look at new? New is going to be greatly affected by... yeah, we can look at it. Let's pull it up real quick here. Real quick. And you guys keep an eye, scream out if Bitcoin just keeps dropping like crazy, okay? If anybody sees it, any major flushes, let me know. So if we just look over here at new, guys, new is up 2.32%, but I don't know if the Brazilian real is doing better. That's really the big thing with new right now, is how is Brazil's currency doing? And if the U.S. dollar is crushing it, they're going to be doing rough over the short term. And it looks like the U.S. dollar is weakening a little bit. So I think that's what's given again, that's happening with the yen. I don't know if that's happening with the yuan. But with the yuan, it doesn't look like that's happening. The yuan is still seeing pressure. But it looks like Japan and it looks like Brazil are seeing a little bit of a reprieve. Simler Scientific. People want to look at Simler. Okay, we're going to look at that. What's your take on Simler? I don't know if I have any takes outside of the fact that it's really overpriced. Is this one of the Bitcoin holding companies? Right? They had a much higher NAV premium than MSTR. They had a much higher NAV premium, and Mara has the best. MSTR has the next best. All these others that people were, what was the other one that people were talking about? Simler was one of them. What was the other one? James, guys, if you sub to James, he has a really good breakdown of the what am I trying to say here? Of the NAVs for some of these other Bitcoin holding companies. So if you want a really good breakdown, I would look at James' work. Honestly, I would look at his work. He's got great stuff. But what was that other one last week that everybody got excited about? Do you guys remember that? Man Mahindra, Jesse, remember when I said I sold 60% of my portfolio last week? I'm enjoying my decision with your help. That's a lot more than I did. So just remember, you're not tracking me. I only had like 15% cash. Now I probably have like 13.5 to 14. Genius, NAV is below BTC Holdings. What is Genius? I don't even know what that is. That's not the company I was talking about from last week. Oh, Cooler, yeah. Let's see how well Cooler is doing this week. Everybody, I had people in my chat being like, Jesse, you're underestimating Cooler. It's so awesome. It's so awesome. Cooler is so awesome. And I'm like, is it though? Is it really that awesome? Let's see if it updates here. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to pull up. I don't know what's happening. Why is it not pulling up? Oh, there it is. Down 7.3%. That's not much. I think it can go much lower. So this Cooler one, guys, isn't going to feel very cool if it drops 50 to 60%. I think it can drop 60% in a very short period of time. So Cooler isn't going to feel that cool. But again, it went up 5,300%, guys, this year from the bottom. 5,300%. Which PayPal leaps did I have? I have the January 16th, 2026 for a 95 strike, but you can look at different ones. They're down 10% today. It's a lot. I'm not buying it because I'm still up 140. If they go red, I might look at it. I'm not looking to get into leverage at all. I just don't give a shit. I'd rather be safe. It's okay to be safe sometimes. There's times where you want to be safe. I feel like right now is a good safe time. NVIDIA is up 1% today, guys. And my PayPal's, or my Palantir is only down 1.2% from when I bought it. Feeling pretty good about that purchase. It's really a Bitcoin pain party right now. And Tesla's getting hit too. I don't understand quantum computing hype. What's your take? It's fucking hype. Rigetti competing. Rigetti competing or computing? What did you mean, Silas? I'll look it up. RGTI. Yeah, Ben Guy says, hey, Jesse, I'm thinking of selling all my NVIDIA so I can buy more Tesla and MicroStrategy. What's your opinion? I think NVIDIA has way less upside than Tesla and MicroStrategy. That's my take, not a financial advisor. RGTI. Roblox doesn't even make money. Whoa. I don't love this already. What is this? It's went from 66 cents to $18.50. It was the next Ionic. Yeah, it's probably going to be painful as fuck. Down 12.7% today. How's Ionic? How's all of our quantum computing doing on a risk-off market? Is Ionic still pumping? I'm sure some of these shitty ones are still pumping. Down 7%. I don't know, guys. That looks toppy. That looks about as toppy as, yeah, I don't know. I don't know when people are going to give up on these plays, but when you have a quantum computing company that isn't making money and it's up almost 700% from where it was in August, that just seems crazy to me. I'm not recommending RGTI. It was answering your question. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, dude. When women look classy in TV shows. What are we talking about? Yeah, I don't feel super Z-plane. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I'm following. So again, we're still under 91.3. Oh, when we crack 91, that's going to be fun. Good morning, everyone. What's going on with Bitcoin? Just noticed a nice drop. It's dropping. That's very astute. It is dropping, and a lot of stuff. We're seeing We're seeing options contracts get smoked, like CleanSpark's down 12%, PayPal's down 10%. So we're seeing continued deleveraging. This usually ends in pain, like a flush. If you all knew Jesse, you would know that if the financials are not solid or at least improving, he stays away. Doesn't matter the market. Yeah, I'm a fundamental financials based investor. I don't buy hype and shit. Did Hood have an event tomorrow? Or do they have an event tomorrow? I don't know. When only the shit pumps. Yeah. I get worried when only the shit pumps. That's when I get worried. And I'm seeing a pretty strong deleveraging across my portfolio. I've got, let's see, like 450,000 in calls right now. 900,000. I've got roughly 900,000 in options right now. They're pretty flushed out. So my options contracts are bleeding, and that's okay. I'm glad I only have 900K in them. I wish I had less. Wish I would have got rid of the options on CleanSpark. That would have put me down at a nice low level. But whatever, it is what it is. I don't know. Hood was talking. Yeah. Oh, I think you mean Hood was going to do another announcement tomorrow. Vlad was alluding to that. Man Mahindra, Jesse, do you think Boeing could be in deep trouble over its manufacturing faults? Fact, I think Boeing is a worthless company. I wouldn't even touch it. They're losing government like space related contracts. They're just a mess. Kumar, Jesse, what's your target of Tesla in 2025? And also, will you be entering the June calls again or nah? I've got one call for 2026. And I probably will enter them again. They're down almost 7% today. I'm not going to do it right now. I want to see what happens with the flush in the markets. Tesla's run pretty good. I get excited about MicroStrategy in the 280s. And again, I bought a little bit as we're going down. MicroStrategy is down almost 8%. CleanSpark's down almost 7% now. I might buy a little more in CleanSpark stock. The calls are down. The leaps, guys, I might even get some leaps here. They're almost becoming interesting. They're down 19%. I'm going to set some up with a really low target on the CleanSpark leaps. They're at 80 cents right now for the target. That's over a 20% decline in one day. Yeah, I don't know. I might buy a few right there. Let's see here. I might buy a few right there. They're just getting the wind sucked out of them. Actually, I'm going to do 75 cents because they could go lower. I don't know, man. I'm not doing a lot in regard to leaves, but if something's down 25% on the day, it becomes more interesting. So I'll let some ride. It gives me a little bit of dippity dip. I'm not putting a lot into leaps though for anything. This is just a what the heck. No leaps. Are they 6 months away? They're 6 months away. It's probably not a great buy. It could go to dust. I'm actually okay with all my CleanSpark options going to dust. I'm prepared mentally for that. It's only $225,000 now. It's gotten majorly destroyed. Majorly. So we'll see. There's people selling out of those en masse right now. I think they're panic selling. It's going to be a lot of angry CleanSpark people. They'll probably end up chasing later. Oh, they're talking about China stocks, guys. I got to hear this. I got to hear what they're saying here. This guy's I think he's a China shill. I think he lives in CCPville. Yeah, he talks about the Shanghai all the time, but I want to hear what he has to say. I want to hear his pitch. I don't blame you. I don't blame you, Adam.
Stocks in China underperforming the S&P for the year. And if you go back, it has been for many years, in fact. Trade policy likely to perhaps bring more pain in the coming year. Our next guest expects a battle between President-elect Trump's pragmatic stance on China and the ideological drive of the various hawks on trade around him. MSA Capital Managing Partner Ben Harburg joins us now. Ben, always good to have you. Hope springs eternal when it comes to China, I know, and you've been navigating very difficult markets for some time. Are you hopeful for 2025?
2024 wasn't too bad for us. Our graded China growth ETF CGRO was up 20%, which is a decent return, all things considered. And I think the conditions are laid for an even better trend in 2025. The Chinese government has been kind of trialing and erroring different forms of stimulus, and it looks like the trading policies are working.
Guys. Remember that.
General debt relief for the provincial governments is finally coming into full effect, and finally they're unlocking a lot of the money that they owe downstream to local businesses. The real estate market seems to have stabilized. This month saw double the real estate transactions in Shanghai.
That doesn't mean shit. If the prices are lower, it doesn't mean shit. I fucking hate this kind of lies, and I just hate it.
That were there a year ago. And I think that Donald Trump has the potential to bring in a kind of brand of ruthless pragmatism into the dynamic that could see it actually find some constructive and concrete evolutions as opposed to just an ideological back and forth.
Yeah, I want to talk more about that. But when it comes to China, I mean, you talk about debt relief.
I'm doing some buying while we're dropping, guys.
Worries of deflation. A Chinese
he probably wants to improve his
that,
social credit
despite attempts to prod them, seems unwilling to really increase their spending in a significant way. On the local property level, is it going to be enough to change those two dynamics?
Well, we don't have to shift them into, buyers again at the local property level. We just need to stabilize the current prices, and in some ways stopping for future construction will actually help that, because there's been a huge overcapacity issue across every sector in China, but none more acute than I think in real estate. And so if that construction slows down, supply starts to stabilize, and again, we're seeing it in the tier 1 cities, that stabilization. But when that free fall stops in housing prices, people stop feeling poor. And when that feeling wears off, that's when they start to get their sea legs back under them and come back to the high street. So that is the critical litmus test. It's not even further real estate consumption. It's simply stopping the bleeding. And I think that we're seeing signs of that now.
Ben, going back to geopolitics and the relationship between the U.S. and
Who's excited about the Santa Claus rally, guys? Raise your hands.
China. Last week, we saw President Trump file a motion with the Supreme Court asking them to pause a ban on TikTok, which was set to take effect next month.
Trying to find some support.
That was a different stance than we saw from President Trump a few years ago. And I'm just curious what you think that implies about Trump 2.0 and its relationship with China.
Trump's stance on TikTok was not surprising to us, and I've even spoken with other senior officials that are highly influential within the Republican Party and within the kind of MAGA base, and many of them are proponents of TikTok and the ability it has given them to address a much wider audience, let alone the kind of relation between some of President Trump's largest donors and their investments in the application. So this outcome was not surprising. It's something we've advised to people for the last year or so. But alongside of that, you obviously saw President Trump emerge from that meeting with the CEO of TikTok and say that together China and the United States can solve all major issues. You saw him retruthing articles about incoming or nominated Ambassador Perdue, that he will bring a pragmatic touch to the relationship because of his experience in doing business in China. And so I think these all lead to a highly pragmatic environment.
Ben, you mentioned the performance, I think, of your actively managed ETF. I don't know what the asset number is. I think it's fairly small, but I am curious, are you going to continue to own the same names? Any change in terms of how you're going to structure your own portfolio based on your expectations for what China will and won't do in 2025?
We came into the year and we came into this strategy thinking you needed an active approach to China just because of the constant back and forth on the trade front, new names being added to the entities list or other export restrictions lists from the U.S. side, sanctions lists, and of course, watching the immediate impacts of these stimulus measures, be it trade-ins or otherwise, and their effect on consumers in China. And so we've been trading in and out, not only of names, but also of markets. So A shares, H shares, and ADRs. And I think that approach has paid off. We're beating our nearest competitor, the likes of KWeb, by 5-6% on the year. And I think that you've got to be active on China. You cannot sit passively because there are too many things going on at once, China. Too many variables.
Fuck that. You don't need to be active.
And it should, I mean, we obviously talk a lot about the failure, so to speak, of the Chinese economy to put up the growth numbers perhaps that had been anticipated. But Ben, they are still a leader in solar, leader in EVs. battery technology, a number of other areas. Are there ways that you see that you can play those separate from the fact that the Chinese economy still continues to have its challenges?
Absolutely. Again, we look at a very selective swath of names within China that we see as high growth, either because they're exporting globally, the likes of Pinduoduo or Alibaba, who have large global presence, particularly in the United States. We're looking at names in the kind of fully integrated supply chain, the likes of BYD, who are doing tremendously well in building electric vehicles, both domestically and abroad. In China, I just saw a statistic today that in the next couple of years will be bigger as an electric vehicle market than the entire American car market.
Today's are fun days to buy, guys.
You know, a small China is still bigger than most of the world. And then, of course, any of these integrated hardware producers in the mobile phone space, our biggest holding today is Xiaomi, a company that's doing tremendously well, not only on mobile handsets and IoT devices for the home, but now electric vehicles, producing hundreds of thousands of cars. So you've got to move in and out of those names, but all of those are doing tremendously well in spite of the overall macro malaise.
Although they have dozens of EV makers, don't they? I mean, there's got to be some consolidation, doesn't there?
It's possible. I mean, already there was a lot. When we first invested in NIO 8 years ago as one of the first and largest investors, I think there were 300 electric vehicle companies that were registered at the time. That consolidated to just four or so. So I think that list maybe could add one or two names, but no. And a lot of global names are actually consolidating into them. So European automakers like VW are actually co-producing electric vehicles with the Chinese. So I think you'll see more of that kind of co-branding across combustion and EV names globally.
Dude, there's less of that. A lot of companies, Porsche is reducing their exposure to the Chinese market. That was the story years ago. There's a lot less of that nowadays. And the number of Chinese EV makers, there were over 500. Hundreds have already failed, and there's more that are getting ready to.
Yeah, well, if such an important market for so many of the German automakers, and obviously it's gone away in terms of market share to a certain extent. Ben, thank you. Ben Harburg from MSA.
All right, as we head to a break, check out the spike in natural gas as weather forecasts show freezing cold temperatures coming around the first half of January. Nat gas is on pace for its best year since 2016, though coming off a very, very low base, like 25-year lows in prices about 10 months ago. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
All right, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to kill this. We got it playing down below. I'm going to make sure it's on live. Let's see. There is more data coming out right now, I believe, actually. Let's just take a look. Or really quick. So we had Chicago PMI, which was shit. If you're just getting here, Chicago PMI was horrible. At 9, we got pending home sales. I didn't even look at them. Let's pull it up. NIO is trash. Utter trash. Anybody touching NIO is just stupid. Pending home sales, year over year, 6.9%. Ooh, guys, they're ticking up. This is a good number. Month over month was 2.2. They expected 0.7 and 0.9. That's a good number. Dallas Fed manufacturing. Chicago sucks. Is anybody surprised that Chicago sucks right now? But Dallas Fed is a 3.4. They expected a negative 0.4. So let's look. So we get better economic data, guys. Home sales are looking good despite, and again, if the 10-year is rolling over, which it is rolling over today, it's down 1.7%. Or I'm sorry, the 10-year is at down 1.86%. So even more. We're still seeing a recovery in pending home sales, guys. We actually saw a positive year-over-year numbers on pending home sales for the first time. I mean, again, this trend started in September, but September, October, November, all look good. They're all trending higher. How the hell did so many Chinese EV manufacturers go out of business? Why was China government? They're subsidizing heavily. I think Geely, or no, wait, Psy. There's some of these, is SAIC or something? Some of these are getting subsidies up to 37%. 37%. 37%. Imagine that. Imagine that. That's just crazy. All right. So again, pretty red looking day. NVIDIA trying to hold on to some gains. Jesse, so would you like to characterize the state of the markets generally now? I've been out of the loop for 3 weeks. Yeah. So the state of the markets are they went up a lot. We had the Trump pump, and then global liquidity has been falling, and it's been falling for a while. A lot of people aren't paying attention to global liquidity. Even if you just look at M2, you can see where it's been in decline for like 3-4 months. And if you look at my boy Michael Howell's work, you can see something similar where he's talking about, I'll just scan through it real quickly, about how the QE and the yield curve control, which he says not the QE and not the yield curve control, how that stuff's been going down since the beginning of the year. He talks about how the 10-year yield suppression, not yield curve control, how that's been, kind of in decline. I'll skip the 10-year. World investor risk exposure has been kind of rolling over. It's rolling over quicker than we expect. I actually think it will go higher, but he's showing central bank liquidity is in the green, so they're being accommodative. He's showing that we're still early in the global liquidity cycle towards our peak. I agree with that still. There's a bunch of things that need to happen. I need to make a standalone video, but essentially he talks about debt ratios versus liquidity. Let's just look here real quick. Talks about debt ratios. It's so hard to read this. It shows global liquidity, and then it shows their is that debt to GDP? Debt to GDP. It's showing an increasing number over here, a rapidly increasing number for debt to GDP for China. That is really bad. It's actually worse than that because there's so many of their metrics are lies. And so as ours looks like maybe it's got some stabilization over here, this one is just going straight up, and that's really bad for China. He talks about advanced economies debts versus percentage domestic liquidity stock. Just how, again, we're starting to see U.S. housing bubble, cryptocurrency bubble. We came out of this thing, right? And are starting to go better. This is a big one. PBOC, People's Bank of China. Look at the black line here for open market operations is through the floor into the negative. Even though their GDP is supposedly up here, it's just all bullshit. China is falling apart. And if you look at their 10-year bond, if you look at the 10-year bond yield, it's dangerous. It's bad. It's really fucking bad. It's really fucking bad. So China's melting down right now. And anybody who's going to buy NEO because that dipshit is telling you that China's in good shape and that things are going to get better and you need China exposure is just a moron. You guys aren't paying attention to what's happening. So I think liquidity is dry right now, and I think in the next week or two we could see markets continue to roll over because I think that there is fear in the markets. We can see it in the options market. They're just getting crushed. Triple witching was painful. There's a lot of stuff that's happening, and I've deleveraged just so you know, C-list by over $2.5 million of leveraged longs and options that I got out of. I wish I would have got out of more. I wish I would have made it 2.8 and got out of, or 2.9 and got out of CleanSpark completely with options and just stayed in the stock, but I did not. And again, so they're all getting crushed. They're all getting crushed today. PayPal today, options contracts are down almost 10%. CleanSpark's options contracts are down 25% today. Holy shit. That's crazy. That's actually fucking nuts. That's crazy, dude. 25% they dropped. So somebody's got some fear on PayPal or CleanSpark today. I might even just buy a couple of those. I don't remember if I did. Whatever. We'll see. I'm just going to let it drop more. Gina has a yeast infection. I don't know who Gina is. But I was answering your question, Silas. I don't know. Victor, honestly, I'm in steel industry. China only cares about dumping global economies with their shitty products and polluting like crazy. Yeah, that's true. The majority of the coal production on Earth is from China. The majority of the coal consumption on Earth is from China. They're not the great white hope of whatever people think they are. They lie all the time. The reason you might feel positive about China is because their propaganda is all over YouTube and CNBC. So if you like propaganda and like believing things that aren't true, there's tons of that. Albert, because I fail to understand how is it possible to go out of business while being heavily subsidized? Because you still can't make money. when you have over 500 EV makers, do you think that America would, do you think a lot of American EV makers would be doing well if they were going against a Tesla and there were over 500 of them that were heavily subsidized by the government? No. No, there'd be too much competition. There will probably be a handful of EV makers in China when it's all said and done. And it means all those subsidies were just wasted on inefficiencies. Centralized control does not work well. Guys, look for this as a bounce zone. It's probably not a bounce zone, but you can see a fake bounce zone here. Look for a fake bounce zone here. And now that we've round tripped, here's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. I need to get this out there. You guys need to see this, okay? This is not going to be what people want to see, but it's the pattern that's out there, okay? So you could say that this is kind of like a double shoulder over here. Let's just call it a double shoulder. And then we could look at the head. And again, we'll draw it up to here. No, let me do it here. People are not going to like this. They're going to be pissed at me for drawing this. But it is what it is. Okay? This is an erect penis that's about to go flaccid. That's what we're talking about. Okay? And the measured move is the same thing I drew before. I mean, technically it's worse. Technically it's like this, right? Technically it's like in the 70s. I mean, it's like this. If you measure it to wicks, it's somewhere between that. But I'm just going to stop it here. So people don't like it. They don't want to see it. But this is what can happen. You could see a 10. You could see a 10 to 15, 16% drop in Bitcoin from here. I'm just going to post this. All right. Cool. All right, let me get caught up with chat. Holy cow, BCC, we're going down. Maybe. Actually, it's getting a little bouncy in here, but I think it's still going down. So you're BTC into the 70s? Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I really don't care because I'm getting MSTR and some other things. And I think it'll be short-lived. Like a vampire at a virgin party. All right, I like it. I like Bob Ross better. But that's pretty good too. That's pretty good too. Can you show us this on your main screen? Show what? Sorry. Oh, yeah, totally. Let me just save it. I'll just pull it up over here. I got so many freaking tickers open right now. If you're talking about Bitcoin, yeah, I mean, it's this, right? You could even just say it's this. You could just say it's this. You could say this is the shoulder. Ignore that other thing. This is the shoulder, right? Let's draw it right to about there. Let's draw this right to about there. Let's draw this right to about there. It doesn't look like this went down all the way until you move this out of the way, though. See that right there? How that whipped all the way down? So you could say that this is happening right now. Victor, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships, my friend. I appreciate you. If you guys got one of those, you can chat and ask questions. And again, this doesn't have to happen. We could get a bounce over here and a curve. The longer we stay here without breaking underneath 91,470 and really turning it into something substantial, if we just grind over here for a period of time, and let's say that it is the end of the week, and we haven't busted down underneath of this, then that could turn into something where maybe we start to curve up. But I do believe the bias is to the downside right now. I think that's the bias. And I don't know. Either way, I picked up like what, $150,000 in cheap ass shit today. So I'm happy about it. Palantir 3030. Oh, hey, you got one. Adam got one. Gifted a membership. C-list, no idea. Read it on a book. The vampire thing? Will you bring the chart? You must have missed must post on hashtags. I don't care. I'm still doing it. I've read the post. I know that you shouldn't use too many hashtags, and I know that you shouldn't tag too many people on posts. Otherwise, you get a reduction. That's all I care about. Looking bouncy? Maybe. Could be. Or it could just be a fake out. We'll see. Either way, I got 150,000 on the cheap. I'll take Mara. Again, what did I buy? Let me just show you here real quick. I'll take Mara down like 8.5%. I'll take MicroStrategy down 8.5%. I'll take CleanSpark down 8%. I'll take all those. I'll take all this, right? All these yummy buys right here. I'll take all of it. And if we don't drop more, cool. I got cash. I can just hang out. I've got over probably 5 million in right now, close to it. So I'm good. I'm good either way. What are my thoughts on coin? I think there's better options than coin. Let me just go over here. I will say this. I like how rapidly MicroStrategy and some of these others did bounce. Going from negative 8.5% to negative 5.5% is really cool. It wants to bounce. They're looking for an opportunity to. Once these Bitcoin proxies start outperforming Bitcoin, then you know you're really getting springy. And they're doing pretty good. Coin. I mean, you would hope this is support. This thing was at 340 and it's down to 250. I don't know. I just think there's so many other bets that are better. This is a $62 billion cap. I would rather own Hood. Oh, yeah, happy to admit. I would rather own Hood at down 2.13%. It's $33 billion. So you got half the market cap, and these guys are expanding out into all kinds of territories. So I'm much more bullish on Hood than I am Coin. I just think it's a better company. Better company all around. All right, guys, we're getting a little bouncy. Getting a little bouncy today. I like that. I like to see it. Maybe that'll continue. Yeah, I am getting bored though. How are you feeling about 2025? You think liquidity up for the year, or Doge causes some turbulence? I actually think Doge is going to be hugely beneficial, and people aren't ready for it. Can you explain what Palantir does? Yeah, they're like a software company that allows people to isolate their data and use AI to determine where they can find efficiencies and what they should be doing next. That's about it. And they've got military contracts too. They actually have done a pretty good job with the military side of the business in showing how they execute. And I think Ukraine was a great reflection of how good their product is, because they use it. They actually made a couple of videos that are really, really great that shows how it's used in the battlefield. And I would just watch the videos. But all in all, though, I mean, again, if I had to place my bets between who's better at AI between Palantir and Tesla, I'm going to pick Tesla all day long. I just am. But I do think that, and again, their relationships with JD Vance and all these other people is only going to benefit them. Peter Thiel and all these people are only going to benefit them. The PayPal mafia is very much going to benefit companies like Palantir. And you can see kind of a testament to their product is just their financials. Where's my financials section? Where's visual stocks when you need it? Ah, there we go. Their financials just look beautiful. It really looks good. They're just overvalued. But if you look at the customer count, like look at these metrics. Look at these metrics. Their total business, commercial, growing really well. Their government, growing okay. Not at a huge pace, but I could see that getting better. Because again, there's this talk of like a PayPal type mafia with companies like Palantir, Anduril, all these companies together, SpaceX. I think they even said OpenAI, which I don't love. I don't want them to be attached with anything with the government. But I could see like some kind of growth from that. But I will say this, Palantir is running at a forward PE of 158. That's probably from yesterday. It's probably like 150 today or something because they're down 2%. But that's incredibly rich. And but they're just their business model, their revenue growth, their balance sheet looks amazing. They've got almost $4 billion in bonds, collecting like 4.5. Their cash flow looks amazing. Everything looks great. But I think they just allow people, I would look at them as like I don't want to say a CRM company because that's not necessarily a great comparison, but there's a lot of companies like Salesforce where they try and integrate their product with like ERPs, enterprise relationship management software, and then like CRM, like customer relationship management software, and then all these back-end databases, and they really suck at it. And there's a market for small, mid, and large companies where they want better ways to be able to look at all their data silos and combine everything in one place and not have to hire a bunch of data management people to try and they have a question and then they pull it up and then they run a report and they do all this stupid shit. Instead, they want a software where it lets them know what they should be focusing on and it looks at their data and it tells them trends that are happening that are interesting. That's Palantir. Victor says, but Palantir is not an AI direct play. Palantir is a software on top of LLMs with an AIP you can interact with on your ontology to make live decisions. Yeah, sure. But I mean, I think a lot of people look at it as an AI play. They look at it as a direct AI play. Talk to anybody in the Palantir community. Austin, Palantir on commercial side is the best at AI-driven process mining and business optimization. They save companies millions on day one. They could. I mean, it depends on the company size. But, and their cost of acquisition. And I like the fact, here's one of the things, from being on the other side of the fence, the last job I had, we were selling like CRM software and we were integrating with data silos, right? So I can tell you that business sucks. And the companies that are there are incredibly depressing, and they don't do shit for you half the time. Whether it's Microsoft's with Power BI, or whether it's the solution that we were offering, or whether it's a multitude of any others that are out there, they all sucked. And most customers were disappointed by whatever they had all the time, Salesforce included. So I do think that there's a market for a company like Palantir that can do it a lot better and that's more AI savvy or business savvy, all those things. So I like Palantir and I like Alex Karp a lot. And again, I like their relationship with the government and I'm wondering if it can get bigger. And I don't know. It's just interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But I don't love it more than Tesla. I don't love it more than Bitcoin. I don't even know if I love it more than Argentina, because I think Argentina just has so much promise in the years ahead. So I don't love it more than those. All right. I think I'm getting bored. It's almost 10 o'clock. We had more data. What was it? I think we got the Dallas data. So we looked at the pending home sales and we see the improvements there still, even though the 10-year was rough and the 10-year is starting to drop. We like that. Okay. And then the Dallas Fed, again, we didn't look it up, but look at that. Look at that. First fucking positive metric in a very long time. Let's go to the 3-year. First positive read since April of 2022. There's your headline, guys. First positive read on the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index in 2.5 years. That seems positive, literally. And this is a huge route. Look at how long this route was here, guys. If we go back and we look at the 2008 Great Financial Crisis, this is almost comparable. Maybe not in depth, but in time frame, it's more. And depth, it's pretty deep. So this is almost like a 2008 Great Financial Crisis. It's definitely worse than what happened in the the 2015 to 16 range. It's definitely worse, even though the depth here was so large, it was so minuscule for time frame that it was worse than the pandemic. So worse than the pandemic, and the only thing that's worse than it was the Great Financial Crisis, and not by much. Jesse, what's your opinion on the Dogecoin? I don't know. It's just a shit coin like all the rest. I think I own some. Lieutenant Der Grip. How low can MicroStrategy fall if BTC reaches 80s or 70s? I think the 280s, 270s are going to be a pretty good number, but maybe it goes even lower than that. I mean, let's just do that because eventually the proxies start to spring more. When you have big routes like this, even in a bull, eventually the proxies start to spring more. So if you're talking about that other route to get to the 80s, that's Bitcoin getting to, or having almost a 10% drop, right? To get to the low 80s. That for MicroStrategy to fill its gap, it's like a 9 to 10%. And so I still think the 280s are a great place to buy MicroStrategy. Okay. That was Victor who gifted it to you. So I still think that's a good buy. Could it go lower than that? It could go lower than that, but I still think that's a good place to buy. Because I think eventually they start to outperform. That's when you know you're really at the bottom. Right now, we're still just hugging this golden retracement line. C-list, remember, markets always go up. Over the long time frame, that's true. If your time frame is like the monthly or dual monthly, then that's really true. We can see that, right? Like if we just go to the S&P, it's basically been market go up since the Great Financial Crisis. That's all we know. So all we've known for 15 years is market go straight up. And that's all we're going to continue to know because we can't have an economic downturn without destroying the world right now with all the indebtedness that we're seeing. So the only direction is up. If you're looking at a longer time frame, the only direction is up, guys. Because just look at this. I mean, if we go back, if we just turn this to the monthly, I mean, look at this chart. Look at that. It's only up. Since the end of 2008, beginning of 2009, it's just up. Outside of little blurps, over here where the market rolled over just a little bit, over here, over here, over here, a little bit here, maybe a little bit today. It just goes up. It's all we know because the money printer has to go burr. We can't have, if we have an economic downturn and we don't stimulate, the world falls apart. Literally. Metaphorically. I mean, it's not literally going to fall apart, but it's going to be bad. How low can NEO go? Who gives a fuck? 0. NEO loses a massive amount of money per car, even with probably 25% government subsidy. Who gives a fuck about NEO? You shouldn't. I mean, it's not even worth shorting because there's too many people already doing it. Jesse, can you take a look at EOS Energy, please? They've gone on a big run in 2024, but they're billed as America's battery. How are they billed as America's battery? Tesla is America's battery. EOS isn't America's battery. Let's look at EOS's fundamentals. So, wow, guys, what did they make last quarter? Almost $1 million. Let's give a nice clap for EOS, guys. EOS. And what does that give them a valuation of? $1.1 billion because they almost made $1 million. Amazing. Cash flows. Let's look at their cash flows. How negative are they? Free cash flow, negative $54 million in one quarter where they made a whole $1 million. Exciting. Oh, now they're saying that they're going to make $21 million next quarter. They don't have any more forward guidance, just that. And they're still going to lose on EPS. And I mean, the only thing I can give here is that they're buying their own, insiders are buying some stock. That's actually interesting. Short interest is 27% on this company. This is just one company where I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a fraud. I shouldn't say that. But there's tons of debt. Share dilution is fucking ridiculous since 2022. I mean, shares outstanding 63 over here million. Now there's 217 million. Why would anybody invest in this company? I hear people talking about it all the time, America's battery. I mean, that's Tesla. It's literally Tesla. Building out massive battery factories all around the world. Building out lithium refining plants that are live. Like 71 cents a share, and now this thing is what? $5.17. I don't fucking know, man. Visual stocks with a Z. Here, I'll show you. I'll put it in chat. This is my buddy Alejandro's. Nikola. Yeah, maybe. Nikola was what was it? Their semi was in motion. That was funny. I've got too many charts open. Evidently the man doesn't like all my charts being open. I gotta close some charts. Gotta close charts. All right, guys. I think I'm done. I think the market could still roll over. If you're on my Discord, you have access to my charts. We're at 91.9-ish. I think the market could still drop from here. I've made my purchases for the day. I think I'm going to hang out with Familia. And like I said, I've been trying to play Path of Exile too. It's a really fun game. Haven't had fun with a game in a long time. I do need to check, though, before that, my priority, my health. I need to check with the person I was talking to about some kind of medical, health regimen changes. And then I need to sign up for another gym membership. I'm going to have 2 now. So I'm trying to get healthy, really good at, that's 2025 is all about health for me. Dude, it's so good, Tired Gang. I don't even play video games. I've played, like, in the last 5 years, I've played probably nothing, really, for the most part. But it's the first time where I've actually had fun and I can decompress. So I've been enjoying it. But I think that's it for today, guys. The data looked all right. Do we have any more economic data at 10? Let's just double check. I don't think there was anything else. No, just 3-month and 6-month bill auctions. We do get Chinese data. NBS manufacturing and non tonight, along with their general for PMI, Purchase Managers Index. That should be interesting. I don't know. Some of the stuff seems mostly like a lie. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll look. Again, these numbers. I'm sorry. Manufacturing is doing way worse in China than this. So I don't know if we're going to get any insight into that. Non-manufacturing, does non-manufacturing show any semblance of reality? I mean, maybe, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I think so much of the data is a lie anymore. I don't even know what to believe. Jesse, feel free to add my warrior on POE to Epstein fighting flight logs. I love that. I will add you just for that, my friend. Epstein flight logs. All right, making a mental note. First video game I played in over 20 years, and it's pretty cool. Helldivers 2. Oh, that's an interesting name. Well, if you like ARPGs, check out Path of Exile 2. I used to love Diablo way back in the day when I was a much younger of a person. And it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, tomorrow, guys, Redbook, home price stuff, Dallas Fed services. So nothing, again, too crazy. Wednesday, blank. Thursday, a bunch of jobs data and MBA mortgage data. That'll be interesting. If these 4-week continuing jobless claims continue to go higher, that will be interesting. If continuing jobless claims continue this trend up, that'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll see. Not too much going on, guys. A little bit of data tomorrow, then nothing really Wednesday. Then it's going to be like Thursday and Friday. I think we can fall for the remainder of this week and maybe bounce at the end. That's my take. Doesn't have to happen. But I got a lot of cash sitting around in case it does. More cash than I used to have across my entire portfolio 2.5 years ago. Love it. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Let's do this again soon, like tomorrow morning. And thank you very much for spending time with me. I do appreciate it. If you could like and comment below, that's wonderful. Otherwise, have a great day, and I will see you.